ராமானுஜதயாபாத்திரம் ஞானவைராக்யபூஷணம் ஸ்ரீமத்வேங்கடநாதார்யம் வந்தே வேதாந்ததேசிகம் லக்ஷ்மீநாதசமாரம்பாம் நாதயாமுனமத்யமாம் அஸ்மதாச்சார்யபர்யந்தாம் வந்தே குருபரம்பராம் யோ நித்யமச்சுதபதாம்புஜயுக்மருக்ம வியாமோஹதஸ்ததிதராணி த்ரிணாய மேனே अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये माता पिता युवतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्ध्ना भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वयभट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसार कुलशेखर योगिवाहान् भक्तांग्रिरेणु परकाल यतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत् पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोस्मि नित्यं नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत् व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं शक्तेः पौत्रम् अकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शुकतातं तपोनिधिं व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। अचतुर्वदनोर्ब्रह्मा द्विबाहुरपरो हरिः अफाललोचनः शम्भुः भगवान् बादरायणः पाराशर्यवचःसुधां सुमनसः दुग्धाब्धिमध्योद्धृतां संसाराग्निविदीपनव्यपगतप्राणात्मसञ्जीवनीं पूर्वाचार्यसुरक्षितां बहुमतिं व्याघातदूरस्थिताम् आनीतां तु निजाक्षरैः सुमनसः भौमाः पिबन्त्वन्वहं निगमकल्पतरोः गलितं फलं शुकमुखात् अमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवत रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिकाः भुवि भावुकाः। सान्द्रानन्दावबोधात्मकमनुपमिदं कालदेशावदिभ्याम् निर्मुक्तं नित्यमुक्तं निगमशतसहस्रेण निर्भास्यमानम् अस्पष्टं दृष्टमात्रे पुनः उरुपुरुषार्थात्मकं ब्रह्मतत्त्वं तत्तावत् भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे हन्तभाग्यं जनानाम् अग्रे पश्यामि तेजो निबिडतरकला यावळी लोभनीयं पीयूषाप्लावितोऽहं तदनु तदुतरे दिव्यकैशोरवेशम् तारुण्यारम्भरम्यं परमसुखरसास्वाद रोमाञ्चिताङ्गैः आवीतं नारदाद्यैः विलसदुपनिषत्सुन्दरी मण्डलैश्च बाहुद्वन्द्वेन रत्नोज्ज्वलवलयभृता शोणपाणिप्रवाळेनोपाता वेणुनाळीं प्रसृतनखमयूकाङ्गुलीं सङ्गशारां हृत्वा वक्त्रारविन्दे सुमधुरविकसद्रागमुद्भाव्यमानैः शब्दब्रह्मामृतैः त्वं शिशिरित भुवनैः सिञ्च सिञ्च मे कर्णवीथि योगीन्द्राणां त्वदङ्गेष्वधिकसुमधुरं मुक्तिभाजां निवासो भक्तानां कामवर्षद्युतरुकिसलयं नाथ ते पादमूलं नित्यं चित्तस्थितं मे पवनपुरपते Krishna Karunya Sindho Krishna Karunya Sindho Ritva Nisheshatapan Pradishatu Paramananda Sandoha Lakshmi Ajñātvā te mahatvam yadiha nigaditam Vishwanatha kshametaha Stotram chaitat sahastrottaram adhikataram tvatprasadaya bhūyāt Vedha narayaniyam shrutishu cha janusha stutyata varnanena Spītam līlavatārairidamita kurutam Ayurarogya Saukhyam Ayurarogya Saukhyam Janaki Kanta Smaranam Gopika Jeevana Smaranam. With the abundant blessings, grace of Paramatma. Kunyo feedback erano. At the start it was fine. Volume kunyo etano. அவ காதில் கஷ்டப்பட்டாலும் பரவாயில்ல கேட்டுக்கிட்டோம். ஓங்கி உலகளந்த உத்தமன் பேர் படி நாங்கள் நம் பாவைக்கு ஷாற்று நீராடினால் தீங்கின்றி நாடெல்லாம் திங்கள் மும்மாரி பெய்து ஓங்கு பெரும் சென்னல் ஊடுகையள் ஊகள பூங்குவளை போதில் பொறிவண்டு கண்படுப்ப தேங்கதே புக்கிருந்து சீர்த்த முலை பற்றி வாங்க குடம் நிறைக்கும் வள்ளல் பெரும் பசுக்கள் நீங்காத செல்வம் நிறைந்து. With the blessings of Paramatma, the benign grace of the Alvars and Acharyas, we are on day 4. This is the Madhyama Bhagam of the series because we are done with 3 days. We have 3 more days to go. So the 4th day is the Madhyama Bhagam. Why did I sing Vongi Ulagalanda Uttaman? Because there is Vamana Avataram. Sir, so you sang. No. While speaking in an Upanyasam, or if you are performing a Yajnam, in the middle, if you stop, the Prayashchittam for that is a Trivikrama Mantram. So, that is why in a Yagam, in the middle, suppose I get a phone call. After I finish the call, when I come and sit, Vedam says, do the Prayashchittam by reciting the mantram, Trini Padani Vichakrame Treda Nidade Padam. So I have to talk about Trivikrama. But Vedam has its own restrictions. Who can recite, who should not, and so on. Whereas Divya Prabandham is meant for all. So that Vedavakyam has been transcreated by the Alvar as Ongi Ulagalanda Uttaman, which is Andal here. So it was recited. So this is called as, there are many Prayashchittams which we can do for the mistakes that we do. That said, where did we leave yesterday? In Gajendra Moksha. Like most serial directors, I said Todarum. So we have to continue. Gajendra, he invoked the blessings of the Lord because he wanted somebody to protect him. That is why there is a Prachina Shlokam. It seems some people said, is Paramatma merciful or not? Does he have the quality of mercy in him? You know, there's a small poem called The Quality of Mercy that comes in The Merchant of Venice. The quality of mercy that droppeth from the heaven, says Shakespeare. So there should be this quality of mercy. Mercy has many words in Sanskritam. One is daya, anukampa, karuna. These are all paryayavachaka shabdams. Though they may indicate mercy, they are mercy in various levels. Now, when there was a pertinent question asked if the Lord, Paramatma, is merciful, does he possess the auspicious attribute of mercy towards his or her devotees? One Acharya said there are 6 witnesses, like in a court. I don't know how the court functions here. Traditionally in the Bharatiya court, they will call the name thrice. Suresh, Suresh, Suresh. Then Suresh has to come. You have heard of this? So here, does the Lord have the quality of mercy? Have there been recipients of his mercy? Yes, says the Acharya. To this he gives a beautiful verse that suggests that these 6 were the recipients of the Lord's mercy. Vatsalyat, abhayapradana samayat, artarti nirvapanat, audaryat, aghasoshanat, aganita shreyaf padav prapanat, sevya shripati rekayeva jagatam yetecha shat sakshinaha. Shat sakshinaha, 6 witnesses. Prahladascha, Vibhishanascha, Karirat, Panchalya Halya Dhruvaha. 6 people will come to the court and vouch that the Lord is merciful. Who are these 6 people? Prahladascha, Prahlada, Vibhishanascha, Karirat. Who is Karirat? Gajendra. Gajendra is called Karirat. Virata Shabdam, Rat Shabdam means they are leaders. Kari is elephant. Karirat means the leader of the elephants. So Karirat, Gajendra, Panchali, Draupadi, Ahalya, Dhruvaha. How did the Lord show his mercy? Slightly more volume. See, I am not able to hear on this feedback. That is the only problem. So, little more. Prahladascha, appade. Prahladascha, Vibhishanascha, Karirat, Panchal, Ahalya, Dhruvaha. So, how were they blessed with the Lord's mercy, or what face of it was showcased? Prahladascha, what was the quality? Vatsalyam. For Prahlada, the quality shown to Prahlada was Vatsalyam. Why? Because Vatsalyam is the love shown by the parents. Here in his case, for the intellect that he was, rather than praising him or motivating him, the father rebuked him. So truly this boy did not receive the parents' love. So the Lord showcased his love to Prahlada. Vatsalyat. So he says, that is why Vedanta Deshika says, when the Lord tore open Hiranyakashipu, it seems he did something which is impossible. It's called Aghatita Ghatana Samarthyam. He brought 2 things together. See, imagine you are in a good mood. Somebody is trying to provoke you. What will you say? Hey, please don't come. I'm in a very good mood. Don't even provoke me now. You're extremely angry and somebody tries to crack jokes. See, I'm not in a mood to laugh to all your jokes. Please. So when you're angry, you're not ready to transition to being a very calm and a composed person. If you're very calm and happy and all mirth, you don't want to be provoked, which means 2 opposing emotions can't stay together in one person at the same point in time. But Vedanta Deshika says, while the Lord tore open Hiranyakashipu, his anger was being showcased and being converged in his fingers. But at the same time, he was looking at Prahlada and tearing. While he was looking at Prahlada, there was motherly affection flowing into Prahlada. Saroja Sadrisha Drisha. So he was just not a combination of the animal and the human. He was also a combination, a concoction of 2 opposing emotions coming together. So Prahlada was a recipient of the Lord's grace in the form of Vatsalyam. Vatsalyat. So Vatsalyam is showcased to Prahlada. Second, after Prahlada, whom did I mention? Vibhishana. Abhaya Pradana Samayat. So for him, what he required was Abhaya Pradana. Because he tried advising his brother Ravana that Sita is somebody else's wife, give back that mommy to that mama. She is not our mommy. We have Mandodari mommy. She is my Manni. I will live with her. You also live with her. We will be a good family. Give back Sita. As usual, Ravana was a very good administrator, very well learned person. But his character was zero. So when his character was very weak, Vibhishana said, it is high time I leave this organization because there is no ethics in this organization. You can be a whistleblower. Despite that, if they don't take efforts, then there is no use in staying in this organization. He left Lanka and he came to Bharata. But by that time, CAA was not implemented. He had come from the neighboring country. So there was a dilly-dallying situation, whether to accept him or not. He's a Sri Lanka citizen, whether to put him in the refugee camp. Has he come through the wall? Have we constructed the wall completely? These were all the points. Abhaya Pradana Samayat. He came with the fear whether Rama will even hear my case. Forget about accepting me. That is when Rama says, whoever it is just not Vibhishana. Even if Ravana comes, I will accept him. So he says, don't worry. He says, Abhayam. Bhayam, don't worry. Abhayam. So for him, the love was showcased. Mercy was showcased in the form of Abhaya Pradhanam. So for Prahlada, Vatsalyam, Vibhishana, Abhaya Pradhanam. Third, after Vibhishana, whom did I say? Karirat, Gajendra. Artarti Nirvapanat. Arti means distress. Pain. Elephant was in pain. So the biggest panacea to that pain came in the form of Lord's love. So he removed the pain. He was the pain killer for that elephant without any side effects. Painkiller minus side effects is the Lord. So he said, Artarti Nirvapanat. Arti Nirvapanat. Arti means distress. He removed that distress. That is why when you do Ganga ji ki Arti, wrong, I keep telling it is Harati. Ha. H should come. Harati means this mudra. Ganga ji ki Arti. If you say, that means you are troubling Ganga. You are polluting Ganga. You are throwing Ganga ji ki Arti. Wo to hum karte rahe hain. So it's Ganga ji ki Harati. You should say ha ha. Open that H. So for Prahlada, what was the gunam? Vatsalyam. Vibhishana, Abhaya Pradhanam. Bha, you should stress. The opposite person should turn back. Rumba tupitapa. Abhaya Pradhana Samayat. Karirat, Gajendra, Artarti Nirvapanat. Who is the next example? Panchali. Audaryat. See, Audaryam, generosity. What did she require at that point in time? Loads of saris. The Lord was generous. He checked on Amazon, everything. Whatever was the stock, he started sending. So that is Audaryam. Next, after Panchali, whom did I say? Ahalya, Aghasoshanat. See, she knew that the person who had come was not her husband. She knew it was Indra. Despite that, she had a relationship with him, which was immoral. So she knew she had committed a mistake. But Rama says, yes, she committed a mistake knowingly. But then she sought for remorse. She felt what she did was wrong. So in that scenario, we have to forgive her. Agha Soshanat. Shoshanam, cleaning. Agham, sins. Agha Shoshanam. He showed the mercy in such a way that he said, see, finally, Gautama, you have to accept. She has done a mistake. She feels she has done it wrong. Take her again. Be a good couple. So Agha Soshanat. So he was the counselor for both of them. Then finally, after, what was the last one? Dhruva. So, Agasoshanat, Aganita Shreya Padav Prapanat. So at the end, Dhruva reached a padam called Dhruva Padam. We don't know where it is, but Shastram says that the entire creation is in the form of a Shimshumaram, which is like a dolphin. So somewhere in the, if you take the 5D form of the dolphin and goes in a spiral way, the last point will be Dhruva Padam. So he reached a place where nobody else could reach. Shreyaf Padav Prapanat. So all these 6 people came to the Delhi High Court and said, don't say that, no, let me make it practical. Madras High Court, and said, don't say Lord is not merciful. These are the 6 examples. But they immediately, the judge asked, you are giving me examples of people who have lived in the past. Give me the living example. That is when the wife of a great lady came and said, I go temple after temple, he is showing mercy. So, Lord shows mercy. Now, in this case, let us go back to the elephant. The elephant was holding the lotus flower. One person wrote one message to me yesterday. They said, sir, you initially said that the elephant had no intent to submit the flower to the Lord. I didn't say that. Shuka Brahmam says that. Shuka doesn't say that the elephant had lot of love for the Lord. There was a temple nearby. Every day he used to submit flowers. One day he came. All this is not there. I'll tell you why that is not there. Because it will not be logically tenable. If I say that the elephant already knew of the Lord and devotion, and then every day he was offering that flower, while he was suffering from the crocodile, that very instant he would have raised that SOS call to the Lord. Because he was the normal elephant, he tried to fight it out. Only at one point in time he was able to remember the previous Janma. You're able to get that point? So only then he had the intent. Now let's come to that Adi Shabdam. You remember yesterday I had left it that Adi Shabdam. Brahma, Shiva, Indra, they all start, but then the word is Adi Moolame, causeless cause. So they all retracted, and then finally the Lord had to come. I also told you how the Lord was immediate in getting up. See, to enjoy sleep, Andal says, Parkadalul Payya Tuyindra Paraman. She describes that the Lord enjoys how he sleeps. Even sleeping he enjoys. Sir, can we enjoy sleep? For people who suffer from sleep, you should go talk to them. They will try everything. They will have medicines. They will even listen to my upanyasams. That is the final Brahmastram. Even then, if they don't get, now you should go ask people who suffer from less sleep. This less sleep disorder, no sleep disorder. You know what they will look at? People who are sleeping, they will look at eppadi thoonguram parunga. Okandinde thoonguvar, paduthunde thoonguvar, kettinde thoonguvar. Na paduthundu kuda thooga maatengren. So sleeping is a great varam. It's a blessing. And this is described as one of the dashas in Upanishad. Jagrat dasha, Swapna dasha, Turiya dasha. These are all dashas in Upanishad. While you are sleeping, Swapnam has a Swapna Shastram. Beautiful. On day 7, I'll be talking about one dream. Dreams I'll be talking about. So, sleeping is a great boon. Trust me, those of you who are sleeping well, thank your stars, thank your Rashis. You're all sleeping well. The Lord sleeps well. But sleeping is one. Sleeping well. What does sleeping well mean? See, invariably in the US, now this is my 40th day in the US, 40th lecture, no break in between, 2.5 hours a day, 4 red-eye flights. So, if it's an early morning flight, imagine the flight is at 5:30. And invariably, the host's location will be at least 1 to 1.5 hours from the airport. And the airport will ask us to be 1.5 hours ahead. So I have to, if it is 5:30, then I have to leave the house by 2:30. For leaving at 2:30, I have to wake up by 1:45. The Upanyasam and the photo session will get over at 9:30. I go home, I'll have 2 hours. Then I'll have an alarm for 1:30. Do you think I'll sleep? 10:30 I'll sleep, 11 o'clock I'll wake up and check if it is 1:30. 12 o'clock I'll wake up and check if it is 1:30. 12:30 I'll wake up and check if it is 1:30. 1 o'clock I will wake up and I will never sleep. I will wait for and check if the alarm is working. There's always a pleasure when you wake up before the alarm and check, you'll see how that alarm functions. Is this sleep? When you sleep, next morning you should wake up and you should have not nadula konja pakkam kaanale. You should have not understood how those 8-9 hours have passed. That is sleep. பார்க்கடலுள் பையத் துயின்ற. See, any activity you do, if you enjoy, you cook, you do that with love, you see the outcome. You study, you do it with love. You sit for upanyasams, do it with love. Let's see the outcome. What is the outcome? Next 3 days you will come. So, you see, I grew up under the love of my grandparents. I always say, if the people ask me in my interview, which is your golden period? My golden period was when I was with my grandparents. Because grandparents are mature parents. What are parents? Immature grandparents. So, when I grew under the love of my grandparents, my tata, my maternal grandfather, Mata Maha, he was employed with the State Bank of India. After 39 years of work in State Bank of India, he retired, and the job which was given to him with the Sengol, now everything is about Sengol in India. So the Sengol was handed over to my grandfather. What Sengol? To brew coffee. So his duty was to make coffee every day. My grandfather was very particular. He will go to one particular coffee shop. The seeds have to be roasted in front of him. Then chicory has to be added in the range of 15%. Then that smell is so intoxicating. He'll bring at 4 o'clock. He will wake up. Then he'll take that coffee brewing vessel. Like Dvaya Mahamantram, it will have Purvardham and Uttarardham. First half, second half. Then in the first half, he will put little sugar and coffee powder. Because if you put little sugar, the coffee decoction will be thick. Try this. Note that down. Okay. அதுதான் எழுதிடுவா. இன்னைக்கு என்ன கத்துண்டு எழுத சக்கரை போடணும்னு சொல்லியிருக்கார். So, and then he used to add that piping hot water. Then the decoction will come. And again, he'll put the decoction back. It is called double decoction. And then in Bangalore, we have milk called as Nandini. That is white water. So you have to take it takes a lot of effort from your side to separate the water from the milk. Then finally, after the milk has come and then the decoction has come, he will ensure that, you get that froth at the top. And then he would sit with that cup and the tumbler, and he would read the newspaper. At that point in time, he read the Hindu when it used to be good. So he used to, and then he used to roll that tumbler, and every sip he would take, he would enjoy. That is when I used to, this is how coffee has to be drunk. 2 hours of hard work. That is how the Lord is. So the Lord was reclining on Adisesha when he heard the word Adi Moolame, Adi Bijaya, Adi. He withdrew his legs at that lightning speed. For a minute, Mahalakshmi's hands were floating in the air because she didn't have a leg to massage. The thighs massage. The thigh massage could not continue. Where is the leg? The leg was suddenly withdrawn. Parashara Bhatta says, Devi hastambuje bhyascharana kisalaye samvahadbhyopahritya pratyasyananta bhogam jhatiti chalapute chakshushi vistritanaha akshipyorascha lakshmya stanakalashakanat kunkumastoma pankat Deva Shrirangadhama Gajapati Gushite Vyakulas Syat Puronaha. So, when the Lord withdrew his legs, he just ran. Generally, from our Puranas, when they describe the Lord, in our terms, they will say, Alankara Priyo Vishnuhu, Abhisheka Priyo Shivaha. Lord Shiva loves to be in the waters, always taking bath. Vishnu always loves to get dressed. You can't ask the other question whether Vishnu takes bath. So, for Parvati, it was something very unique. She told, Enna, எப்ப பார்த்தாலும் குளிச்சுண்டே இருக்கு. எங்க அண்ணா பாருங்க, Raymond மாதிரி complete man dress பண்ணிண்டே இருக்கு. So that is why Lord Shiva said, in one kshetram I will satisfy. In Madurai alone, Lord Shiva is very well dressed. He is called as Sundareshwara. So the Lord is generally well dressed. So whenever he leaves, he look at the mirror, he will check if everything is fine. Then use the deodorant. Put the uttariyam well. He will check if the jari is like this, jari is like that. Very, very particular about that mix and match also he will do. Everything he'll do. But today, all of a sudden, he just jumped from the serpent couch and ran. Now, this moment when he runs for protecting the elephant, he doesn't bother to even check if he has taken the required weapons. The Shankam, Chakram, Gada, Sharngam, all of this. They were all left on Adisesha. Adisesha was a big king-size bed. So you can keep all those things. See, when we sleep on the bed, there will be one laptop, one iPad, there will be one phone, then there will be Amrutanjan. All of this will be there. The Lord also will keep everything on Adisesha. So when he ran, Vedanta Deshika uses this moment to come up with something very creative. Somebody told me, can you please tell from Paduka Sahasram, where are the Bhagavatottamas? Who said that day? One more. Okay. So they said, you have to quote from Paduka Sahasram. Now, Vedanta Deshika creates a beautiful, dramatic situation here. See, in Sanatana Dharma, we believe that these Ayudhas are Ayudha Purushas. We don't treat them as just one discus, one conch got from Pumbuhar showroom. No. It is called Shankayudham is a Ayudha Purusha. Chakra is a Ayudha Purusha. So imagine a dramatic scenario where the Ayudhas are able to talk to each other. So all the Ayudhas, Shankam, Chakram primarily, were left on Adisesha. So Adisesha is looking at them and all of them are having a conversation. Like the 12th night of Shakespeare. It's a triangular conversation. Shankam, Chakram and Adisesha. That day, the help came to Vaikuntham. Lakshmi said, I can't do all work. American Astikas are very good. They are able to manage to do everything. They are professionally good, educationally good, and they also manage to do all activities at home, washing, everything. I can't do. Lakshmi said, I am Bharatiya. Arrange for help. So, one help used to come and do all the household work in Vaikuntham. So, while probably helping that entire Vaikuntham, the Lord's Padukas, his pair of footwear, they were on the floor. So, those that help took and placed on Adisesha. Because she had to mop that floor, right? So, that pair of Padukas were kept on Adisesha. The moment Padukas were kept on Adisesha, Shankam, Chakram and Adisesha, they are one WhatsApp group. They won't include a new friend. So they were talking amongst each other. Adisesha was telling, who is this new entry? That is when Shankam and Chakram said, Paduka. Paduka in Sanskritam is a Strilinga Vachaka Shabdam. Shankam, Chakram and Adisesha are Punlingam. So that Paduka has come. Paduka was able to hear. Some people will wantedly talk in a loud manner so that you get hurt. So this Shankam, Chakram and Adisesha were telling, how dare, after all, Bata footwear, it has the audacity to come and sit at par with us. Shankam, Chakram said, what to do? Times have changed. It's a generational change. We can't help. Shankam, Chakram and Adisesha were gossiping like this. And Paduka was very well cognizant of what these people spoke about her. Then that help kept those pair of Padukas back down because the sweeping and mopping was over. The Padukas were kept. Padukas started weeping. So the entire Padukas became wet. Now I told you 2-3 minutes back that the Lord, in that hurry to protect Gajendra, went a few miles and then he thought, oh my goodness, I forgotten to take my Ayudhams. He came. As he came, he inserted his foot into the footwear. He noticed Padukas were wet. He then inquired. So it's a dramatic scenario. He inquired Paduka Devi. Paduka, why are you weeping? What made you weep? She said, this Shankam Chakram and Adisesha were talking bad about. They were bad mouthing about me. You can't even call it grape wine. It's absolute chaos. She cried. The Lord said, Paduka, don't worry, I am there for you. I don't know, you never even bother about what they speak. Is this the way you take care of me? The Lord said, don't worry, wait till Rama Avataram. In Rama Avataram, while Bharata came to Chitrakuta to tell Rama, please come back to Ayodhya, Rama said, see, for 14 years I can't come. If I come now, it will become an eyewash. Then people will say it will be like some of the politicians who go to jail today and 2 days later they'll come out. So I will stay for 14 years and come. But till then, console yourself that my padukas are with you. So he said, Lakshmana, go get the padukas. Lakshmana held the padukas on his head and brought. Then the transfer of padukas has to happen. Rama said, Bharata, take it. Adhiroharya padabhyam paduke hema bhushite. Bharata took on his head. On his way to Nandigramam, Bharata said, I think Paduka Devi will be feeling a lot humid. Shatrughna, can you please do Chamara Kainkaryam? So Shatrughna was doing Chamara Kainkaryam to Paduka Devi. So Lakshmana held on his head, transferred to Bharata who held on his head. Shatrughna did Chamara Kainkaryam. Who is Bharata Shatrughna? Shankham and Chakram. And who is Lakshmana? Adisesha. So the Lord ensured justice by making the three of them serve Paduka Devi, says Vedanta Deshika in one shloka. Natikramas Sharanavahamat Paduka Padapitham Yadyasannam. See, like this he has composed 1008 verses on Paduka in 3 hours. That is why, since our Bharatiyas in those days, one thing that I personally tell in all interviews that Bharatiyas lacked was the art of marketing. Very bad at marketing. No packaging at all. See, if you go to marriage, somebody said, Swami, please be careful. It's a handcrafted bag. I thought, for handcrafted bag, be careful. All our temples are handcrafted. Do we even think about it? See, my request is, do not look down upon any civilization. If Europe has an architecture, it's worth appreciating. Go there. If the pyramids of Giza and the Luxor temple, the Sun temple at Luxor is beautiful, appreciate. If you're a true student of architecture, you will genuinely appreciate architecture. But don't be apologetic. Yes, it is dirty, but look at the architecture. Have those eyes. If you don't have those eyes, pray to Krishna to give those eyes. Divyam dadami te chakshuhu. Please give me those eyes. So we were very bad at marketing. That is why Paduka Sahasram, 1008 verses in 3 hours. It is a world wonder. But we were not able to market. Now, so the Lord jumps and takes all his ayudhams. While taking his ayudhams, his celestial vehicle Garuda was resting. See, even he needs some rest. The Lord pulled Garuda. Garuda felt, sir, where are you taking me? He jumped on Garuda and said, go. Garuda said, drop point, sir. Where should I go? Then only GPS mommy will guide us. The GPS has one great Saraswati Anugrihita mommy. See, we are so much used to GPS now. Just think, I'm sure there are many veterans who have lived for like 30, 40 years. Swamila, 30 years, sir? That time you had no GPS. You had to look into the map, check where, which exit, which entry. But today you're completely dependent on GPS. So much so, even for Vaikuntham, we have to take GPS along. Vaikuntaloka Manimantapa Margadai. That is GPS. It will tell. Now you have crossed Shukla Paksham. You have crossed Vidyut Lokam. Go straight. Don't take right. Don't take right. That is not. That is Yamalokam. Go straight. Go straight. Go straight. 3 more miles to go. It has to tell. So the Lord did not mention where. Why? That is because one Acharya says, he was so engrossed in protecting his little child, which is the elephant, that the Lord did not, out of Vatsalyam, know what to do next. See, Gajendra Moksham is a beautiful reminder to us of how mothers' minds work. A mother, she may be stout, she may be thin, she may be short, she may not even be a PT Usha. But trust me, if something harms her daughter or son, that mother will run faster than PT Usha. You won't even realize. This mommy, she's able to run because the Vatsalyam in her will make her run. Gajapata Gushite, says the Acharya. See, Adi Shankaracharya, at a very young age, he took up to Bala, he became a Bala Sannyasi. He left his mother, his father died at a very young age. His mother was a widow. He left his mother and went around the country. He was a sannyasi. But at the last minute when his mother was thinking of her son, he somehow reached her presence. And he sings a few verses about his mother. Beautiful verses. It's called Matrika Panchakam. Astam Tavadiyam Prasuti Samaye Durvara Shulavyata Nairuchyam Tanushoshanam Alamayi Shayyacha Sambatsari Ekasyapina Garbhabara Viditaha. Hey Mata, while I was inside your womb, I have caused so much of trouble to you. But every time I kicked you while I was within you, you thought that to be as a pleasure and not pain. When you had that Shulavyata, if you ask, I'm sure men cannot realize, if you ask your respective wife or your mothers, when they deliver that pain, Shulavyatha, says Adi Shankara, it will look as if a trident is being pushed into the garbham. Nairuchyam Tanu Shoshanam Malamayi, for 1 year. Today we say, I want a dry bathroom, get me that roll. For 1 year, but Bhagavad Pada says, Tanu Shoshanam Malamayi, we were urinating and passing stools next to her. Did once, he asks his mother, did you close your nose? Manairuchyam Tanushoshanam Malamayi Shayyacha Sambatsari Ekasyapina Garbhabara Viditaha. For all that you have done for me, what can I do in return? Tasyai Jananyai Namaha. I can only say that I put my palms in front of you. See, learning the best from any civilization, we should be like bees. Brahmaram, later in the Avadhuta Gita, in the Dwadasha Skandam, they say you have to be like a bee. Take the best from a flower. From every civilization. See, something I've learned from the West, I'll tell you. Every time I come, I wonder how wonderful these people are. When their flight lands, patiently they will let one row go. In Bhagavatham, they will appear as if they're going for a war. Everybody will get out of their seats. They can't hold, because they believe if they get out of their seat, they can reach home faster. Wonderful things that you can learn from this civilization. But I would urge some of my younger friends here seated, as much as there are so many nice things that we can learn from your civilization, you have bequeathed some values from the Eastern civilization. One value is parents should take care of their children. Later, at one point in time, take care of your parents. Parents are taking care of you. Make it a point. Don't tell my friend Nick does not take care. He may not have realized the value what the Eastern civilization gives. Your mother takes care of you right from your young age. She has birthed you. She has taken care of you. So make it a point. Write this point down. That I have to take care of my parents. Taking care doesn't mean you have to put them into a hospital or anything like that. Let them be healthy. But always keep inquiring on them. Talk to them. This is very important. We should not lead a robotic life. After all, if we are not able to show that love for our parents, of what purpose is our life? Just to be robotic, is it? So, am I clear? Because, some of the youngsters, one thing, they'll say, I guess, maybe. Without these three, you have to say yes. No this, maybe, yes, advice. So, for youngsters here, one thing, don't see how your friends in your high school are. You have to take care of your parents. So, no, here this is not the paddhati. Then you should tell your parents to not fund your education. Tell them, because that is also not a paddhati here, right? Don't. So make it a point that you have to respect your parents and take care of your parents. Now I'll support the youngsters also. Parents should also be friendly with the children. Okay? I've supported you all. Now, Atantrita chamupati prahati hastimasvikrita pranita manipadukam kimati chakulantapuram. The Lord, when he jumped, what did it show? The love that he had for that elephant. Now you may ask, sir, for every elephant that is caught by a crocodile, will the Lord come? If the elephant does the stuti and calls, he will come. Ask the elephant to do stuti. Yam pashyan vishwadhuryam dhiyamasakridato manthara manthamanaha manyamanaha. The Lord, who was now coming on Garuda, reached very close to that pond. He went and stood on Garuda. I told you, right? He is a complete Indian god. I remember the days when I used to travel by Brindavan Express. Have you heard of it? Between Chennai and Bangalore. So when Whitefield used to come, at one point in time, Whitefield was not Bangalore. So at Whitefield itself, we will take all the luggage and go and stand near the door. But our prarabdha karma will be, for half an hour, the train will be halted there. So the Lord stood on Garuda. He turned right. What should be here? Chakra. Chakra was not there. Where is Chakra? Where is Chakra? He started searching because Chakra had already done its job of cutting the crocodile's head. Sir, he didn't even command. That is smartness. A good person who's subservient, who wants to help the other, will not wait for the instruction. That is why in Tamil, there is a saying. If the mother is making vadas, vada or bada, anything, while she is making badas in sesame oil, in gingerly oil, and the gingerly oil is not sufficient enough to fry any more badas, and the son or the daughter know that the mother is making badas, and when the child realizes that the oil has come down and the mother says, Kanna, yell sesame. What she meant was, go get the sesame oil. Before she would say yell, the boy will go and get that yennai. That is why in Tamil there is a saying, yelluna yennai. How will I be? She will ask yellenna. Yellenna na eppadi cold pressed hot pressed? Idayamma, not idayamma. She will lose interest and she will say, we'll have so many badas, it is enough. It is, see, the only thing that I have in the US, consume, everywhere I have, because I have some food restrictions, I consume only Starbucks chai latte. But I will lose interest in that. 21 questions they will ask. With milk, without milk, with vanilla, with cinnamon, with yamma yedonu kuduma. Finally, what product comes will not be anywhere closer to the tea. This is Pudu Avataram. Sata Patala Bhishane. It's one new Avataram. Now, the chakram had gone and done its job. The Lord came to the spot, took the elephant leg and had to massage it. He said, don't worry. That time, the Lord asked the elephant to bend and he took the lotus, because the lotus was now close to crushed, because it was being held in the trunk and the elephant was having a tough time with the crocodile. So the flower was not in its best of its colors and shape. Yet the Lord took the flower and said, for submitting this flower to me, should you have taken so much of efforts? Remember, the elephant did not take the flower for that purpose. The Lord assumed, like the Narayana Namam of Ajamila, that the elephant thought to submit the flower to the Lord. See, the beauty is this happens in Bhagavatam. Later, I'm talking 400 years back in Sri Guruvayur, when Bhattadri was imagining what was mentioned in the Bhagavatam and was bringing its quintessence in Narayaniyam, for a minute he remembered that the Lord of Guruvayur also carries Shankham, Chakram, Gada and Padmam. So he turned to Guruvayur Appan, Sri Krishna, and asked, hey Krishna, is this the lotus, is this the same lotus gifted by Gajendra that day? It seems something which is not so logically tenable. But Anantarama Dikshitar would mention, for which the Moola Vigraham said yes. How would you say yes here? How would you say yes? This is correct? So the Lord, because in India you can do a circular motion. Okay. He said yes. गज को जब ग्राह ग्रसो दुशासन चीर ग्रसो सभा बीच कृष्ण कृष्ण द्रौपदी पुकारी इतने में हरि आ गए सब अनया छोड़ गए सूरदास पार कालो. This Gajendra Moksham has been mentioned time and again. Alvar says, Meenamar poigai, Nanmalar koivan, வேட்கையினோடு சென்னழிந்து கானமர் வேழம் கையெடுத்து அலற கரா அதன் காலினை கதுவ ஆனையின் துயரம் தீர புல்வூர்ந்து சென்று நின்று ஆழி தொட்டானை தேன் அமர் சோலை மாடமாமயிலை திருவல்லிக்கேணி கண்டேனே. Any astikas from திருவல்லிக்கேணி here? One, two. திருவல்லிக்கேணி கண்டேனே. People who have had darshanam of Pachu won't like anybody else. So that is Tiruvallikeni's greatness. If you see Parthasarathi, you can't see anybody else. If you go ask people of Kumbhakonam, they'll say Avar Amudan. And if you come across to my hero Vedanta Deshika, he'll say Vaikuntavasepi Namebhilashaha by looking at Varadaraja of Kanchi. Varadaraja is one different style. So Kanchipuram Varadaraja holds a special place. Kanchipuram people are also good. But there used to be a saying of Kanchipurattu Upacharam. Have you heard of it? Kanchipura Upachara means hospitality by Kanchipuram people. They are very good. But if you typically go in those days to a house in Kanchipuram, when you enter their house, Vango, 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 Vango. ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம் நீங்க வந்தது. நீங்கள்லாம் எவ்வளோ பெரியவர் நம்மாத்துல சாப்பிடுவேளா? What is the hidden meaning? That I won't serve you food. நீங்கள்லாம் எப்பேற்பட்டவர், உங்க பாதம் பட்டது நாங்க பூர்வ ஜன்ம புண்ணியம் நம்மாத்துல சாப்பிடுவேளா? Half an hour will say nothing will be given while leaving. இத பாருங்க, நான் சொல்லிட்டேன், இப்பவே சொல்லிட்டேன், அடுத்த முறை வரும்போது சாப்பிடுற மாதிரி வரணும். So now let's go to the next avataram, Gajendra Moksham. See, we have covered so much. Now we are going to Kurma Avataram. There was a rishi called as Durvasa. See, there has to be a reason why he was given that name, Durvasa. Navasepi iti. You cannot live with that man. Durvasaha. See, that is why in many houses they'll say, Engathu Durvasar vanduttar. Durvasa suravanitapta divyamalyam shakraya swayam upadaya tatra bhuyaha nagendra pratimridite shashapa shakram kakshantistvaditad itara devatam shajanam. So there was this rishi called Durvasa. While he was walking by the woods, he saw a Vidyadhara Stri. She was carrying a beautiful garland. She said, I have been gifted with this garland by Sakshat Mahalakshmi Devi. It's a prasadam. Please take it, sir. So it was given to Durvasa. Now Durvasa wanted to give it to somebody else because anything that is not long-term beneficial will keep going like this. Gifts in any of our marriage functions, it may at times, if you are lucky, it may be your own gift given to somebody else. Which means nobody has found it useful. See, in my marriage, I had 25 wall clocks. Gift. I could have easily run one shop. For my Upanayanam, I had 6 wine glasses. That was the gift. So, here, you typically go to any temple. Imagine you're going to a Divyadesham temple. While you're just about to have a darshanam of the deity, imagine that there is a couple near that Garbhagraham. The Bhattar Swami, the priest, gives them a garland. Our human mentality, how many our Vedanta lectures we listen, our human mentality is at the bottommost of our heart, we'll be thinking, wish even I had that mala prasadam, which means somebody has to garland me, the priest has to call me and garland me. But trust me, I'll tell from my experience. You may have that wish, that desire that you too become a recipient of that garland. But that desire will last only till you get that garland. After that garland comes to your hand, you will now be searching for cavities within the temple premises. Slowly you have to keep it. So this Mahalakshmi Prasadam, Mala Prasadam was given to Vidyadhara Stri. Vidyadhara Stri gave it to Durvasa. Now Durvasa, while he was walking, he saw Indra coming on his celestial elephant called the Airavatam. So he said, Indra, very happy to see you take this mala. Indra did not want to get down and take. So he said, Airavat, lelo. So Airavat put his trunk and that mala was fixed, and Airavat took that mala and kept on its mastakam. But that mala was not so soft like the mala Dwaraka Swami gave me. It was full of thorns. So it started pricking the mastakam of the elephant. So the elephant did this, and that mala fell, and that elephant trampled on that mala in the presence of Durvasa. This is where the problem begins. Maddatta bhavata yasmat kshipta mala mahitale tasmat pranashta lakshmikam trailokyam te bhavishyati. In my presence, right in front of my eyes, you have disregarded just not Lakshmi Prasadam, but what Prasadam I gave you. That's primarily because, Indra, you seem to have developed the arrogance as a result of your prosperity. So he says, Tasmat pranashta lakshmikam. Whatever gives you those signs of prosperity in your household shall vanish. So all the stocks he had put, those share prices came down. His deposits in SVB did not come back. Generally, his wife Shachi Devi, Indrani, used to wear beautiful mantulir with a rettapettu, mountain border, with a beautiful Kalakshetra pallu. That became a normal 5-year-old Shungidi. Everything changed. So he used to be very well dressed like one of you. Finally he became like me, dhoti. So the leaves of the Kalpaka Vriksham, they started withering. The wish-yielding Kamadhenu disappeared into the woods. Chintamani, the stone, went missing. Now Indra thought, this is not the way I would love to live. He was always drenched and drowning in comfort. So he went to Brahma. What Brahma would do if somebody worries, he will join them in worrying. So he said, the only way is to Purusham Purusha Suktena. Let us recite Purusha Suktam and go to Kshirabdi, Vaikuntam 2.0, Karya Vaikuntam. So they went and told the Lord. The Lord said, see, your wealth is lost in different directions. The only way to bring that back to life is to let you churn. Now, this is also treated by some of the research scholars, this churning of the Milky Ocean, as a cosmic event. So they say that the second level in the earth, which is mantle, that would be going around with the North Pole. Some of the scholars, I'm telling what they say. The North Pole being the Meru Parvatam, that is why we say Meroho Dakshine Parshve, and the tortoise that supports from the bottom. So it needs that girth, the support from the bottom, which is the Kurma. And then there is a churning. That is why volcanic eruptions happen, and from the volcanic eruptions, even the elements come, the metals come to the topmost surface. So this is a way they say. That is why the tectonic plates move. This is one way. The other theory is a large part of the Southeast Asia, from the China border, then you come down to Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, which is Kambuja Desham, to Thailand, is regarded as a place where the natural bodies undergo churning. If you know, in Kambuja Desham, Cambodia, there is a city called Siam Reap, where Angkor Wat is, Parama Vishnu Loka. In Siam Reap, there is a river called Siam Reap. That river, as it flows from its source till the sea, at one point in time, it meanders and gets back into a lake and starts churning. So since these events were witnessed by the local people, they thought that this incident that we see, which is a natural phenomenon, is akin to the Samudra Manthanam. That is why if you come across the Southeast Asian countries, they have a huge influence of Kurma Avataram. If you go to Paramavishnu Loka, which is Angkor Wat, the eastern wall will have a 216 feet long panel of Kurma Avataram. If you go to Thailand Swarnabhumi airport, there will be a Kurma Avataram. So Kurma Avataram will be easily found in the Southeast Asian countries. That said, they had to bring the churning rod. That is why, again, it all talks about something larger than life. The mountain Mandara was made the churning rod. Vasuki, a snake, became the churning rope. Let alone the scriptures mentioning this. Even a Jina monk means a Jain, called as Ilanko, in one of the earliest Tamil works called Silappadigaram, the story of the anklet, which is over 2200 years old. In that he says, Vadavarayai mattaki vasukiyai nanaki kadalvannan pandorunai kadalvaira kalakinaye. So the devas on one side, towards the tail side of Vasuki, the Asuras, their half-brothers born from Diti, on the head side, they started churning. Ramayanam says, the beauty of Kurma Avataram, make note of it. Kurma Avataram and the Samudra Manthanam is mentioned in the Balakandam of Ramayanam, Adiparva of Mahabharatam, in Srimad Bhagavatam and Sri Vishnu Puranam, one of the rarest episodes that finds mention everywhere in Itihasas and Puranas. So as this was being churned, there Vyasa says in Adiparva that various herbs were also put near its base. So as the churning happened, the herbs, they all got mixed and there was a thin layer of some special liquid that floated. Because of the heat generated, the liquid generated start turning into fumes. We do the salt analysis, right? At times if you have to prove whether it is sulfide or not, you have to pass that gas through a certain liquid. There will be fumes. For chloride, we do a test, chromyl chloride test. So these are all tests. Similarly, those fumes came. The moment those fumes came, Devas and Asuras, they couldn't breathe well. They couldn't breathe. They did not carry mask. So they couldn't breathe. That is when they prayed to Lord Shiva. That is when Lord Shiva appears. Na khalvatmanas sachivoktam ittevadaraniyam parasichavoktam. Lord Shiva appeared and said, I will help you, Devas and Asuras. You have called me by Sri Rudra Mantram. Namaste astu bhagavan vishveshwaraya mahadevaya trayambakaya tripurantakaya trikagnikalaya kalagni rudraya mrityunjayaya sadashivaya shriman mahadevaya namaha. Yata ishu shivatama shivam babhuvate dhanuhu shiva sharavya tavataya no rudramridaya. Hey Manyu. Manyu means anger. So he says, Manyava utota ishave namaha. Please get your anger down, Mahadeva, and help us. So the moment they praised Lord Shiva is known to be very benevolent to his devotees. In Sanskritam, he is called Ashutoshi. Ashutoshi means one who is pleased very soon and gives varam. That is why if you find many Trayambakeshwar Sthalam and all, they are all in Maharashtra. That is why many Maharashtra Astikas will have this name Ashutosh, if you have heard of this name. So Ashutoshi, that very moment, Lord Shiva comes and Padma Puranam says he took those floating liquid akin to halahalam or kalakutam. He took and drank, sipped those halahalam by saying Achyutaya namaha, Anantaya namaha, Govindaya namaha. This is called Achamanam. That is why we do that. Lord Shiva has shown how to drink that. So now there is a folklore here. It is said that Parvati was told, hey, your husband is drinking poison. Parvati came running to that spot and she held his neck. Now one more poet tells in one shloka, look at the irony. Poison is going inside. From outside, Parvati is choking. ये क्या है सर? अदुवे पोबशना इव कழுத்த வேற நெரிக்கிறா. So that poison is said to have remained there. So he became Neelagriva. So Drape Andhasaspate Daridran Neelalohita, says Sri Rudram. So he became Neelakanta. Otherwise Lord Shiva is very fair. Somehow in the north of India they will make him blue. Very fair. And he used to be so fair, when he applies ashes, that grey and fair complexion used to be so beautiful to look at. He was very, very ethnic in wearing jewelry. So he will take one snake and put it around. Then he will take that deer skin and put it here, one elephant skin here. Parvati fell in love. She said, I want a hero like him. My brother is always well dressed, all neatly ironed and all of that. Look at my Shiva. She was impressed. But what saved Shiva? Adi Shankara answers this in Saundarya Lahari. Karalam yakshvelam kabalitavatah kala kalana na shambhostanmulam tavajanani tatanka mahima. Shiva was not saved by any other means. It seems Parvati's tatankam saved Shiva's life. Tavajanani tatanka mahima, which means her saumangalyatvam saved Shiva. Now, Bhattadri says, Garalam taralanalam purasta jaladehe udvijagala kala kutam amarastutivada moda nignaha bhavat priyartham. Why did Shiva consume poison? See, it's a risk, right? See, I'm sure 30, 40 years back, the startup ecosystem was not there. If you join a company, you have to retire from that company. If you go tell the parents, I'm going to go for a new firm, generally there was no encouragement. They'll say, why do you want to risk? So, Lord Shiva risked his life. Why? Bhattadri says, Bhavat Priyartham, because he's writing in Guruvayur, Lord Krishna's neighbor is Shiva, Mammiyur Shiva in Guruvayur. So to impress upon his neighbor, he said, no, I will drink that poison. So to impress Krishna, he drank poison, it seems. Bhavat Priyartham, he says. So he became Neelakanta. Now the mountain started drowning because of that immense weight. Somebody had to hold it from the bottom. Avya surbhuvanatrayi manibhritam kanduya nairandrina nidranasya parasya kurma vapushaha nishvasavatormayaha yadvikshepana samskruto dadhipayah prenkhola paryankika dola nityarohana nirvruto viharate deva sahaiva shriya. It seems the Lord wanted for a very long time. Lord had a desire, Narayana, that he has to get his back scratched. See, scratching your back is a very good pastime. Some of them will love it. Now, there is one invention with that pen. You've seen that? It will come with that Adi Sesha at the top. Because, however, even if you're a great bodybuilder, your hands may not reach till the end. So you can scratch. Now the Lord wanted to scratch. Now he said, Mahalakshmi, so that is when the Lord thought the best way to get this done is through a mechanized way. So he wanted something to go above his back. So the one that has nerve endings on its shell is a tortoise. So if you know, some now have tortoise as pets. I don't know how many of you have noticed. So if you see tortoise, you have to keep scratching their shells. They'll feel very good. That's what my friend says. He has got one tortoise. So the Lord became the tortoise. So when the Mandara Parvatam was kept on its shell and it gave rhythmic movements, the Lord felt somebody was scratching his back. So Vedanta Deshika says, Avyasur Bhuvana Trayim Anibhritam Kanduya Nairandrina. Because of that rhythmic movement of the Mandara Parvatam, he fell asleep. Kurma. And he fell so asleep that he started snoring. As the tortoise snored, the waters besides him turned into waves, it seems. Avyasur Bhuvana Trayimani Bhritam Kanduya Nairandrina. So if you go see waves in some of the Miami beaches, why are there waves? Because somewhere Kurma Avataram is snoring. He says, Nityarohana Nirvrito. See, this is all literature. Now you should not take it literally. Or you saying that near Bermuda, don't get so serious. See, first of all, we have become very serious people these days. You know, that is why in those days they say, read literature. When you read, take it, make it a point. 3 months next 3 months, I will finish one Grantham. Just read. You don't have to by heart or do anything. You don't have to memorize. If you're not so well versed in Sanskritam, it's okay. Buy the Sanskritam book with English translation or whatever translation. It will do some justice. Take up Kumara Sambhavam for 3 months. You will enjoy. Next 3 months, you take up Meghadutam. See, the moment you start getting into literature, you will see a small change in the way you speak also. The way you speak will be very humorous. The people around you will start appreciating the way you speak because you will become more poetic in nature. You will describe small things. People around you will appreciate your humor. Always being serious. அப்படி சொல்லியிருக்க கூடாது அவர் இப்படி சொல்லியிருக்க கூடாது எப்படி தான் சொல்றது when I started giving lectures 10 years back, they won't be immediate acceptance. This has been my style. They'll say அவர் ரொம்ப ஜோக் அடிக்கிறார், பாட்டு பாடுறார், நடுவில் பாட்டு ரொம்ப பாடலைன்னா நீங்கள் பாடவே இல்லையே, சரி பாடிவிட்டா சுமாராக பாடுறேன், something they'll have to tell something. So I too started, see, they said don't crack jokes. See, it's not I don't intentionally do it. It comes. They won't have the ability to accept that style. அவர் அப்படி சொல்லுவாரே, அனந்தராம தீக்ஷிதர் இப்படிலாம் சொல்ல மாட்டார், நான் என்ன பண்றது? அவர் அப்படி சொல்ல மாட்டார். I love Anantarama Dikshidhar, he is my inspiration. But I can't keep following what others, I have my own style. Similarly, my request is, take up to literature, read. Okay, if you say, if I say Sanskritam, somebody will say, Sanskritam theriyadu poda, they'll put one t-shirt. For everything they will have to say something. Hindi theriyadu poda. But they will run a Hindi school. All this they will do. Now the point is, okay, then take up Tamil. Nangal veera Tamilargal. Padi Selapadigaratha. Adallam padikka mattom. Only we will just come for 200 rupees and shout and go. Adallam padicha ஞானி ஆயிடுவோமே. அந்த தப்பெல்லாம் பண்ணவே மாட்டோம். You are very careful. Kshitirati vipulatare Keshava tishtati tava prishthe dharani dharana kina chakragarishte Keshava dhrita kachaparupa. So the tortoise came. Now they continued churning, and I don't have to tell what all emerged. Airavatam, Muchaishravas, Kamadhenu, Chintamani. Then the Chandra who was already there on Shiva. Now again and again be very careful in poetry. They would say, so now only moon came, is it? No. The moon was eternally there. It was always adorning Shiva's matted locks. But it had lost its sheen, that elegance. Now because of this churning, it regained its sheen. See, in India, I don't know here, there is one advertisement where the girl will be so worried, the boy won't talk to her because she is dark. Then one person will come and give Fair and Lovely. She will apply. Next day he will talk. Will you marry such a man? Waste. Life will be an utter waste. All our heroes are dark. Krishna is dark, Rama is dark, Draupadi is dark, Nammalvar is dark, Vedavyasa is dark, all our heroes are dark. That is why one poet says, Kuttumbodhu Mamaoda meesayum karuputtan, Alagu karuputtan. Karuppu தான் எனக்கு பிடிச்ச கலர் எல்லாம் எழுதி வச்சிருக்காரு அவர். So we have never been racist. Honestly, I'll tell you, in our scriptures, we have never been. All our Moola Vigrahams are dark. So all this came. Now finally Mahalakshmi came. Lakshmim Kshira Samudra Rajatanayam Shrirangadhamishwarim Dasi Bhuta Samasta Deva Vanitam Lokaikadipankuram Shrimanmanta Kataksha Labda Vibhavad Brahmendra Gangadharam Tvam Trailokya Kutumbinim Sarasijam Bande Mukunda Priyam. When Mahalakshmi came out, because she is the one who bestows auspiciousness and prosperity. So if prosperity has to come, she has to be prosperity personified. So she comes. Her father is the minister of waters, Samudra Raja. So he says, I have done a Swayamvaram for you. In those days, women were given so many rights. You can put 10, 15 boys together. The lady will choose which one she wants. But just imagine what will be the mental state of the rejected boys. Outside paparazzi and that journalist will be waiting. He has to keep going for Swayamvaram after Swayamvaram. Finally, they'll start speaking. Inda payyana, andha 4 Swayamvarathla vendan solliyutta. Vango, porom. So the boy never had that speaking power, because then they will say, Ninga dane ungala patti theriyada. And the 7 Swayamvarathla vittavar dane ninga ippa vandirukkel. Residue, come here. So women had so many rights. Now, Mahalakshmi is holding a mala. There is mention of this. So here, the shloka goes, Rupenanyena devanam madhye chakragadadharaha chakarsha nagarajanam daitya madhye parena cha. Divyamalyambaradhara snata bhushana bhushita Pashyatam sarvadevanam yayau vakshasthale harihi. She was holding the mala. The father asks, see, there are many people here. Whom will you like to marry? Who is this papa? This is Badri Narayan. He is from Badrinath. Shadi karogi beti? Badrinath ke dulhaniya karogi? So that is when she says, no papa, it's very cold. Because 6 months you have to come down. After Deepavali till Akshaya Tritiya, you have to stay in Dehradun. She said, I can't take this. So will you marry Ramachandra, Ayodhyama? Now Ayodhya is a safer place. Will you marry Ram? She said, see, only one lady besides Sita desired Rama. Her name was Shurpanakha. You know her state. I don't want to lose my nose nor my ear. See, this Shurpanakha, she was a widowed sister of Ravana. She came like any other lady. She came, she looked at Rama. Who will not fall in love with Rama? He was so good. So she fell in love with him instantaneously. A lot more can happen over a cup of coffee, but she didn't wait for it. She said, Rama, I love you. Then Rama said, see, I'm already married. She said, I have no problem. He said, I have a problem. So finally, while she wanted to kill Sita, Lakshmana intervenes and chops her nose. This is a very controversial incident. Some people say, Lakshmana shouldn't have done that. Okay, go tell him. Lakshmana should have not. Did I ask him to do? Go tell him. So Lakshmana chopped off the nose. Now Valmiki leaves it here. Now she goes and complains to her half-brothers. Khara, Dushana and Trishiras. You know Trishiras? Trishiras was one of the half-brothers who meditated on Shiva on a giri called Trishiragiri. Shri Matra Bhutam Trishiragiri Natham Hridi Sugandhi Kuntalamba Sametam. Shri Matra Bhutam. Lord Shiva is called as Tayum Anavar. So this giri where Trishiras did penance, Trishiragiri. Trishiragiri is Tirisiragiri, Tirichirapalli. So Trishiras came there and they all fought. Now there is a technical flaw here. See, Valmiki says her nose was chopped, the tip, not exactly the entire nose, but the tip. Then she went and complained to her half-brothers. See, technically if your nose is chopped, you cannot speak the language clearly because there are many sounds which are nasal sounds in every language. Kandu kanden irikkin janangale kandilenno varuttunna tumbavan randu nalu dinam gondoruttane tandileti nadattunna tumbavan. This is from Jnanapana. Kandu Kandem irikim. That cannot come. Then how did she talk to her brothers? For which there is a grantham. 400 years back, Narayana Bhattadri wrote another work called as Shurpanakha Pralapam. Her lament. There are 6 shlokas. How she lamented. None of the shlokas will have letters that need to be told from the nose. Nir anunasikam. You don't have to use your nose at all. Because she had no nose, right? So Bhattadri said, I will write one grantham which doesn't use the nasal sound at all. See, our acharyas, they had so much time. Shurpanaka's pralapam is one grantham. Now, let me come here. So then after Ramachandra, she said, I don't want to take risk. Will you marry Srinath ji? Dwarka ke hain. Will you marry? You will get good food. Will you marry Dwarkadish? She said, see, I have noticed in Srinath ji, every half an hour if you go to Dwaraka, they will put the screen. अभी क्या चल रहा है? भगवान खा रहे हैं. अभी खाए थे 56 भोग. अरे बाबा. She said, I can't stay with this glutton. Will you marry Vitthal of Pandarpur Rupa? Pahata lotsani sukha jale vo sajani toha Vitthal barva toha Madhava barva toha Vitthal barva. Won't you marry Vitthal? She said, you know what does Vitthal mean? The one who stands on one brick. Vitthal. Idengappa veedu kattum. So I won't marry Vitthal. Will you marry Puri Jagannath? Purushottama Kshetram Puri Jagannath. Apna Khipuri Ochonti. Will you marry Odiya Swami? Jagannath of Puri. He looks good, Papa. But that Krishna's sister is also in that house, Subhadra. Nathanaroda ore aatla. Eppadi? She said, if that sister-in-law is married and gone, it is okay. She's there in that house. How can I coexist? Will you marry Venkateshwara Swami? He's in that Forbes 100, richest man. He has bought one house in Beverly Hills. So you can be that famous wife of the Beverly Hills. Will you marry? She said, Papa, if I marry him, I have to buy one VIP ticket to go meet him. To meet one's husband, it's also I have to go buy ticket. I don't want such a life. Will you marry Guruvayurappa Nale? He looks very smart, Papa, but he can be a bit taller. I am 4 feet, he's 1 foot. Ivara madila ukati vechin monobolar. Then whom will you marry? Lakshmi, batao. Give me more options, Papa. Sri Ranganatha. I will marry him. But be careful, my dear girl. Ranganatha you can marry. Can you adjust with Sri Rangam people? She said, I will marry. Lakshmim Kshira Samudra Raja Tanayam Sri Rangadhamishwari. See, this conversation between the father and the daughter has been immortalized by my Purandaradasa. Kshirabdhi kannige Shri Mahalakshmi Yarige Vadhuvaguve. Whom will you marry? So there's a beautiful composition. You should read that. I have no time, so I have to go. Many charitrams today. Miles to go before I sleep. I've got lots of charitram. Now, then Dhanavantri came. He came with that Amritam. If you drink Amritam, what will happen? Immortal, sir. We won't die. Wrong. This is how our Amar Chitrakatha Acharya has been telling us. Simple. Remember this rule. If one is born on this earth, they have to die. Only the unborn can never die. Because the Jivatma is unborn. Atma is Nityam, right? So it won't die. But the body is born. That is why it will die. You have to shed your body. If you believe in this Amritam gives immortality, don't even touch Bhagavad Gita. You are away from Bhagavad Gita. If you are born, you have to die. What is born has to die. What is unborn will never die. Atma will never die. Avikaraya, Shuddhaya, Nityaya, Paramatmani. That won't die. But body has to be shed. It is Indra, it is Brahma, Agni, Vayu, whoever. Vedanta. Then what is this Amritam, sir? See, in Ayurveda, there is a concoction called Rasayanam. Ayurveda mentions of it. Ayurvedic Rasayanam, it says, if you consume this Rasayanam, now don't ask me how it is made. Ayurveda says there is a Rasayanam. If you consume that within certain limits, prescribed limits from the physician, it will give you longevity, one. Second, it will showcase you as a young person. You get these anti-wrinkle cream, upping, all that, right? You can do some, I don't know, what is it called? Botox, all that you can do, and you will look so young. You $1,000. So you can look young. Looking young is different from being immortal. So this concoction, I am not saying this, Ayurveda Shastram tells, Ramayanam also records that Rasayana Shabdam, for which Govinda Raja comments. So this Amritam, if you drink, you will be immortal, is not true. But this was marketed that way. See, there is a difference between the reality and marketing, right? Induleka oil potukkunga neelama valaradhu parunga. I put nothing, group. So, marketing. So if you are born, you have to die. That much you remember for now. Now this Amrita Kalasham was carried by the Lord of Ayurveda. Who is he? Very good. Dhanavantri carried it. Then he had to distribute that Amritam. That is when there was a tussle between the Devas and the Asuras. One of the Danavas called Viprachitti came in the disguise into the Devas. The lords whose eyes are akin to the sun and moon noticed it. He chopped them and then attached to the snake, which is called Rahu Ketu. But again, this is not mentioned technically in Bhagavatam. This Rahu Ketu itself, many acharyas opine, is a later addition. Navagrahas were only 7. They were not 9. That is why Muthuswami Dikshita writes only 7. It is called Varakritis. Later his Sishyas added that Rahu and Ketu and it became 9. Similarly, if you take up he makes it 9. Lalla, a great mathematician in the 6th century, great mathematician, he records, please do not say, he says 1400 years back, Astikas, please do not say Rahu and Ketu are grahas. At most you can say that the demon has possessed the shadow during the eclipses. They are not grahas. He is very clear. So this Rahu Ketu is a very debating point. Let's keep that aside. Now Mohini Alanka Avataram was taken. So this is the only instance in Bhagavatam where multiple avatars occur at one go. So there is Kurma Avataram, Ajita Avataram from the top, Dhanavantri's Avataram, then you have got Mohini Avataram, all these Avataram for whom? Venkatadhvari Kavi says, for the sake of Mahalakshmi. Because Mahalakshmi had to come out, the Lord wanted to showcase his CV very well. So he did all this. See, I've done so much for you, Lakshmi, and she came. This is Kurma Avataram. Shyamam Ruchapi Vayasapi Tanum Tadanim Praptosi Tunga Kuchamandala Bhanguram Tvam Piyusha Kumbala Kalaham Parimuchya Savair Trishna Kula Pratiyayustavadoruja Kumbhe. Says Bhattadri, now we are going to go to the next Avataram. Sir, you are going very fast. If I don't go at this speed, then 7 days will become 14. 14 days are not available. I have to go back to India. So I have to go rush because we have got loads of portions. Next is Vamana Avataram. First of all, 2 doubts I'll clear now. Avatara Prakriya is not in this order of Matsya, Kurma, Varaha. Every time people will ask, sir, in some Dashavataras we find Balram. In some Dashavataras there is Krishna. In some Dashavataras there will be Buddha. Which is correct? All are correct. I'll tell you why. Because we have wrongly assumed that the number of incarnations of the Lord is restricted to 10. That is why we want to coax every avataram and find which is there in the top 10. No. There are countless avatars. Sambhavami yuge yuge. He doesn't say for one yugam I'll take one avataram. Time and again, whenever required, in whichever form, wherever possible, I will come. Either he will become himself like Rama or Krishna, or he will choose Amsha avatarams like Kapila, Vyasa and so on. Even now, trust me, even now, today, there may be an Amsha avataram in Scotland, in Arabia, in Tasmania, we don't know. For the Lord, there is no geography specificity. I will be born only in Arya Gowda Road of Westmambalam. ನಾನು ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಸಂಪಿಗೆ ರೋಡ್ ಮಲ್ಲೇಶ್ವರ ಪಕ್ಕನೇ ಹುಟ್ತೀನಿ ಸ್ವಾಮಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. I will be born in Char Bangla in Andheri. He has no geography. For him, the entire universe is his. Sir, are you saying that he is born even now? Yes, could be. But why don't we know which are the avatars? Because now, in the times that we live, we don't have a great Valmiki or Vyasa to tell us that this is an Avataram. See, did Rama, while he was born, did he say, I am an Avatara, I am an Avatara, I am an Avatara? Did he put that board? Valmiki tells us he is an Avataram. In beautiful occasions, he showcases Rama Avataram's Paramatma Tattvam. See, while Rama was shedding copious tears when his wife Sita was abducted, on his sojourn to the south, he spots the dying vulture, Jatayu. What will you do if you see a dying animal? There are so many roadkills here in the US. You may find some deer being hit by the vehicle. What will you do? This is all you will maximum say. Will you see a dying animal? Oh, dying animal, go to Vaikuntham. Will you say that? Rama says, Gacha Lokan. He was crying over Sita. Sita, where are you? So looking at Jatayu, he says, Gacha Lokan Anuttaman. Go to Vaikuntham. See, will a normal human being have the ability to go to Vaikuntham? Because if you tell a dying dog, go to Vaikuntham, that will ask, Nee poviya? Ennavo pongiri, nee poviya, sir, modalla? We don't know. But Rama says, Gacha Lokan Anuttaman. ಮೃಗಮದಲಲಾಮ ಶುಭ ನಿಟಿಲ ವರಜಟ ಮೋಕ್ಷ ಫಲದ ಪವಮಾನ ವೀರಸುತುಡುವರು ಸಾಕ್ಷಿ ರಾಮನಾಮರಸಿಕುಡು ಕೈಲಾಶ ಸದನುಡು ಸಾಕ್ಷಿ ಮರಿಯು ನಾರದ ಪರಾಜುಗ ಜಗಜೋ ನಗದುರಂದರ ಮೃಗ ಮದಲಲಾಮ ಶುಭ ನಿಟಿಲ. Tyagaraja says, how is Rama's forehead? Mriga mada lalama shubha nitila vara jat vara. You have to stop till vara. He's got such beautiful forehead. Jata yu moksha phalada pavamana. Moksha phalada. He gave moksham to Jatayu. So that is when Valmiki notices, because Rama was telling from the start, I am a normal human being. Atmanam manusham manye. Don't. When followers used to come, he used to say, no, ऐसे मत आइए, मैं साधारण हूँ, आप जैसा हूँ. देखिए जब सीता is abducted, I too cry. देखिए मेरे आंखों को उट्र पारंगल, नानु मल्गिरे. He used to say. But Valmiki asks, if you are a normal human being, will you give moksham to Jatayu? If you have the ability to give moksham to Jatayu, won't you know where Sita is? ஒரு பக்கம் மோட்சத்தை கொடுத்துட்டு சீதா அப்படின்னு தேடினா எப்படி இருக்கும்? You are giving moksham. On the other hand, you are searching for Jatayu. So that is where Kuresha, Ramanuja Sishya says, that place alone you didn't act well, Rama. You forgot your dialogue. So to tell Rama as Paramatma, we need a Valmiki. To tell Krishna as Paramatma, we need a Vyasa. But today, to tell that there is an Avatara, we don't have a Valmiki or Vyasa amidst us. The Lord is there. We don't have such great realized acharyas. So this Avataram happens. That said, there are many Avataras. In those many Avataras, it is the acharya's prerogative to choose which are the 10. Like top 10 songs of Pepsi Uma. Similarly, one acharya may choose one avatara over the other. Annamacharya says, Daruna Buddha Kaliki Dashavidha Avatara Kshirapane Goshamane Sri Venkatagiri Kuta Nilaya Dolayam Chala Dolayam Hare Dolayam Daruna Buddha Kaliki. So Buddha Avataram is included by Annamacharya. But Vedanta Deshika says, Icchamina Vihara Kachapa Mahapotrin Yadricha Harehe Raksha Vamana Rosha Rama Karuna Kakutsta Hela Halin Krida Vallabha Kalkavahana Dasha Kalkin Nitif Pratyaham. He doesn't include Buddha. Alvar says, Meenodu Amai, Kelal, Arikuralai, Munnuviramanaai, Tanai, Pinnuviramanaai, Tamodaranai, Karkiyumana. There is no mention of Buddha. Whereas Annamacharya says Buddha, Parashara Bhatta says Buddha. Have you heard of Pralaya Payodhi Jale? That's one of the foremost Ashtapadis in Gita Govindam. If you look at that Pralaya Payodhi Jale, there is no mention of Krishna Avataram. Sir, there is no Krishna Avataram. Why? Because Jayadeva says Krishna took as the Avataram of the 10. Keshava Dhrita Meena Sharira. Krishna took the Avataram of fish. So, that is why do not get confused. Oh, there are 10 here, 8 there. There are many Avatarams. Acharyas choose one. Second thing, this order. Immediately we will all get excited. So the first Avataram was in the waters. It was the aquatic. Then he became an amphibian. He stayed on the land and in the waters. There'll be a documentary like this. And then towards that, he went into the marshes like the swine. And then he became the lion, the king of the forests on the land. He then became the short one, the Lilliput called as Vamana. And then he transitioned himself into a barbaric, uncivilized man called Parashurama. He became the civilized man called as Rama. He became very realistic like Krishna. He comes on the horse or the Benz or the Tesla as the Musk. Like that. See, just because your voice changes, you have a different Tarur vocabulary, you cannot hide the truth. The truth is, the avatars did not take place in this order at all. Why do we tell this order? Because we want to bring Darwin here. To bring this Darwinacharya, our Samashayana Acharya, we have to immediately bring science here. When the avatars did not happen in this order, how do we bring them in? See, for example, in Kurma Avataram, Bali participated. Who is Bali? Prahlada's grandson. So what should have happened before Kurma Avataram? So Nrisimha Avataram happened because Hiranyakashipu was upset with the way his brother was killed. So what happened before that Avataram? Varaha. So Varaha, Nrisimha, then comes Kurma. You're getting the point? So this order is not right. So see, whenever science and religion meet, naturally appreciate. When they don't meet, leave them aside. Forcing science suddenly into religion and getting confused, becoming confused. Everything we want to give one reason. See, there is a reason for our existence. There is a reason for the whole purpose of creation. That is given. But for every small thing, if my mother has been tying 9-yard sari in a way. Why? Because her mother-in-law tied or her mother tied. That's all. Immediately the child will ask, why are you wearing 9 yards? You should say, this is how the culture is. If you want, you wear, else don't. No. 9 yards. The first yard is to protect the Agnya Chakram. Second yard is to protect the Kundalini Chakram. Why all this? Where is it mentioned? I don't know. Suddenly this Yantra theory will come. Why do we put Bindi? Because we have been using Bindi for years together. Why do we put Pundram? I see my parent putting, so I put. That's all. If you want, you put, else don't. Because there is a yogic chakra here. If you keep pressing that, your memory will increase. Then the child will immediately ask, I know some of my friends who don't put, they are intelligent. What will you do? Yeah. So don't get into such things. Forcing that logic everywhere is not going to help. In certain places it helps. Larger narrations we have to. But small things. Why do we get kumkumam? Because it is a nice color. It has got turmeric in it. It is an antiseptic. Probably you can say. Don't go beyond that certain point. Why do we make Shidai on Krishna Jayanti? You know Shidai, you know one sweet? Telugu varu telisa? Telugu varu unnara Telugu astikalu? You know that Shidai sweet? They make sweet and karam. Theriyada? Krishna sweets irko inge. Illa. Okay. There is one round ball, which is, one is salty, the other one is sweet. For none it will come well. That you leave. But still there is a sweet. Now the child asks, why do you make Shidai on Krishna Jayanti? Simple answer, because my parents have been making. Now we'll finally go and we'll say in Padma Puranam it is said that Yashoda looked at Yogambal Sundar's recipe and made. Idella venda. That is why you should not reason out everything. And even children here, they are very good friends here. They are all very intelligent. Question. But ensure that the answer that you're going to receive, the question should be worthy, so much worthy, that eventually when you get the answer, you'll be able to share with somebody and there is some benefit for them. Why chida is made? Why do we put like this? Waste, don't ask, don't think you'll be deemed intelligent by asking such questions. Sumara kelvi ketta makkundan julva. So, the art of questioning is also a big blessing. You should know what questions to ask. Sumar kelvilam kekapadu. Now, where is this story going? See. So, these avataras are not in that order. There is no Darwin's theory. Finally, one point. Why I should not force Darwin's theory is, if we force Darwin's theory here, remember, Darwin's is still a theory. Say 20 years later, somebody proves that theory wrong. If you have forced Dashavataram in Darwin's theory, when Darwin's theory collapses, even Dashavataram will collapse. You're able to get the point? So unnecessarily don't bring Darwin here. Let him be happy wherever he is. Now let's take Vamana Avataram. Shakrena sanyati hatopi balir mahatma shukrena jivita tanuhu kratu vardhitoshma vikrantiman bhayanilina suram trilokim chakre vashesha tava chakra mukhada bhitaha. Bali, in that last part of Kurma Avataram, when Chakra had caused lot of damage to the Asuras, he too swooned and he was close to dying. That is when his Acharya Shukra was very, very good in fine arts. See, Shukracharya, we think he is the guru of Asuras. Yes, but very, very good at fine arts. So if you look at horoscopes, see, Jatakam itself is a beautiful art. If you don't look at the daily Rashi Palan, Jatakam is absolutely very interesting. You can discuss Jatakam. The moment we discuss Jatakam, then they will bring their Jatakam. That is the problem. See, in Rama's Jatakam, such beautiful positions have been mentioned. Vakpata Vindunasaha. So he says, Tatascha Dvadashe Mase Chaitre Navamike Tithau Nakshatre Aditi Daivatya Swachcha Samstheshu Panchasu. So he says that in Rama's Jatakam, 5 grahas were at the exalted state. It is called Uchasthanam. So if you have 5 grahas at the exalted state, Panchauche Lokanayakaha, you will become a great leader that the world admires. Panchauche. For Rama, there is also a mention, Vakpata Vindunasaha. If you look at Rama's Jatakam, you know, some of the houses will have this belief that you have to keep Rama Jatakam in the Puja Sannidhi. So in Rama's Jatakam, in one house, there are 2 grahas. Vakpata Vindunasaha. Vakpati means? Yarina Vakpati? Brihaspati, Guru. Indu? Moon. So Moon and Jupiter are in the same house for Rama's Jatakam, which means they are glancing at one house. What is the problem, sir? Moon and Chandra friendly. No, there has been something brewing between them. Bhagavatam mentions that, I think if it is Shashtya Skandam or something, 6th Skandam, I think talks about it. I don't remember the Skandam. Brihaspati, Guru, had a wife called Tara. So he had 3 days of marketing, he went somewhere. To meet Brihaspati, Chandra comes, Indu comes. He knocks at the door, Tara opens. Eventually, Tara and Chandra fall in love. And eventually she gets pregnant. Brihaspati distributes sweets. But when she's admitted to the hospital, the credit card bill is paid by Chandra. Brahma comes as the judge and asks Tara, whose child is this? Is this Brihaspati's? She says, no, it is Chandra's. Eventually, that child which is born is called Buddha. Buddha is the son, biological son of Chandra and Tara. But Brihaspati later forgave Tara and said, I will give my initial. So he had to be C Buddha, but he became B Buddha. This finds mention in Shashtya Skandam. That is why Chandra and Brihaspati can't stay in the same house. That is why I told you Rama's Jatakam. If in a Jatakam, Chandra and Brihaspati are in the same house, there are chances to have a state called Kemadruma Yogam. If Kemadruma Yogam comes, Jyotishya Shastram says that there could be a separation between the husband and the wife. Whereas in Rama's Jatakam, he narrowly escaped this Kemadruma Yogam. Even if he escaped from Kemadruma Yogam, the effects of Kemadruma Yogam were felt. That is why every now and then Rama and Sita will be separated. So all this is in Jyotishya Shastram. It is a big Shastram. The point that I am trying to make is Shukra. That is why they say Shukra Dasha. If Shukra is there, surely they will be very good in fine arts and they will have a finesse. In anything that they do, they will be very creative. That is Shukra. If they are Buddha, their analytical mind will be very good. Now, let's come to Shukra. Now, this Shukracharya was the guru of Bali. He somehow gave energy to Bali, rejuvenated Bali through Sanjeevani Mantram and a Vratam. Kratu Vardhitoshma. Kratu, a yagam was performed. Now, Bali Chakravarti was very strong. He started seizing the property of Indra through illegal ways. Indra became a pauper and Bali became super rich. That is when Indra went and complained to his mother, "Dekhiye ma, ye kaisa hai, aapki bahu ko dekhiye, Indrani ko dekhiye." Then the mother felt very bad and she spoke to Kashyapa Prajapati and said, "We have to find a solution for this. The only way is to seek the Lord's intervention. I would want to seek the Lord himself as my son," and she performed a vratam called Payovratam. Sini valya mridalipya snayat kroda vidirnaya yadi labhyeta vaistrotam yetam mantramudirayet tvam devyadivarahena rasayaha sthanamichyata udhritasi namastubhyam papmanam me pranashaya. She performed a vratam. There are details about the vratam. I am not getting into it. Finally, eventually she got pregnant. Then later on a beautiful day, Tvam kashyapeta tapasi sannidhattadani praptosi garbhamaditehe pranuto vidhatra prasuta prakata vaishnava divya rupam sadvadashi shravana punyadine bhavantam. The Lord was born while the asterism, the constellation was that of Shravanam. Shravanam is called Tiruvonam in Tamil. So Tiru is taken out, that festival is called Onam. So that the Lord was born. Now how was he born? Even while at birth, he looked too small. The gynecologist, obstetrician said, "We have never seen such a small boy. It is such a small creation." He was so small, dwarf in nature, that the tall people did not call him short. Alvar says the dwarfs in the world got together and met the child and said, "He's too short." He was that short. Eventually this child grew. He was called Upendra, but people around him started calling him dwarf. So he became Vamana. So Vamana at the age of 5 had to undergo Upanayanam, Janeyu ceremony. Upanayanam, Upanayati iti Upanayanaha. So he had to undergo the ceremony at the age of 5. Correct? Correct? No, yaradu no. Why no? Why no? 7 years is when Upanayanam is performed. How did you say 5? Because Shastram says, if the child has the ability to recite the mantras very well, pronounce very well, even at the age of 5 as an exception, you can do Upanayanam. But if you wait for the good pronunciation to come and then only put Upanayanam, many cannot have Upanayanam. But if the child is exceptional, do it. So Upanayanam was performed. Brihaspati gave the sacred that Kashyapa, the sacred cord, earth gave the, Mother Earth is said to have gifted the deer skin. Soma gave the staff. That staff is Dandam. If it is held by a Brahmana, it is Brahmana Dandam, Brahma Dandam, and that Brahma Dandam. And later when a king holds, it's called Raja Dandam, which is called Sengol. Dhyauhu, umbrella. He gave umbrella. Brahma gave Kamandalam, water pot. Then Saptarishi gave the Darbha grass. Saraswati gave the Akshamala. Kubera, the private lender. What did he give? Bhiksha Patram. என்கிட்ட இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணேன்னா இதுதான் வச்சுக்கணும். Bhiksha Patram. And the first Bhiksha who has to put, the mother has to put. But here Aditi said, I will give that right to my good friend Uma. Parvati gave the first Bhiksha. So this boy's Upanayanam was over. And where did this happen? In Bihar. That is called Siddhashramam. He was born there, he grew up there. He was a Bihari Babu. Then where did he go? To the Yajnavatika of Bali. Where was Bali doing the Yajnam? On the banks of river Narmada in Gujarat, in a place called Bharuch, which is Bhrugukacham. Sir, yendana idu? Vamanan Keralamalle. Yendana sir parinjathu? Vamanan, Vamana Kshetram, every Onam, Mahabali comes and reviews that Pookolam and the Sadhya and that, all that Alan, Pinaya, Molagutal, Ellang Richele. Yendana idu sir parinjathu? Vamanam avadelle. Technically it is wrong, because Puranam states that this Vamana Avataram happened in Bihar Siddhashramam and Trivikrama Avataram, Bali's Yagam, happened in Gujarat. Because after Ramavataram only, during Ramavataram, this Parashurama has to relinquish his land to Kashyapa and go form the reclaimed land called Kerala. Kerala was born much later. So, but why do we say Vamana Avataram or Trivikrama Avataram is associated with Kerala? Because, I'll give you a minor example and then go to the next part. See, in cricket, IPL, when is the final? Sunday அன்னைக்கு எவ்வளவு மணிக்கு ஃபைனல்? கார்த்தால இருக்குமா? ஐயோ எல்லாரும் வந்துருங்க please. I think I have opened the Pandora's box. So, see, but the advantage of IPL is you can go watch the video later. Now in cricket, though I don't play, I watch at times. I have this belief that, well, I am watching. They won't put a sixer. So what I will do is this, Kohli will not hit, I will feel, every time we are telling in Bangalore, Isala kappu namade. So what I will do is when Kohli is batting, I will go into my room. Then my family will be watching. Suddenly everybody will be clapping. Then I will come. But I have not seen how beautifully that helicopter shot is there, right? For that Geo, what they will realize my problem. They are like Paramatma. What they will do is they would have recorded that shot, and after that beautiful shot is played, they will replay it for me in slow motion. Slowly he'll take that bat. Narunkunji kudal pintala magaram sher kudai irupad ilangiyada. It will go, then he lift that bat and show to Anushka. That time Anushka will, that time only she will know this is called sixer. Then we will celebrate. Now the point is, while the shot was being shown, or while he played that shot, I didn't see. The shot which was played earlier is replayed for my happiness. Similarly, when the Lord was born as Vamana and grew as Trivikrama, the rishis in Kerala later wanted to re-witness that Avataram. So in their yogic vision, the Lord would appear and show that Avataram in that Jnana Drishti. Since it was replayed in Kerala, Trikarkara, which is a kshetram north of Ernakulam, is called Vamana Kshetram. Karkarai Appan, he is called. So Vamana Avataram, Trivikrama happened in the eastern and the western part of India, but the replay happened in the southern part. Manasilayo? Pinne povan. So, while the Lord left Bihar and went to Gujarat, that day Bali Chakravarti was very good. See, Bali Chakravarti was so strong, his biggest weapon was Guru Bhakti. Extremely devoted to Shukracharya. So it was very tough for the Lord to get rid of him because he had Guru Bhakti. He goes to the Yajnavatika. That day Bali Chakravarti was giving Danam to everyone. As he was giving Danam to everyone, Danam was over, people who had come left happily. He said, let's close our shop, we have to go home. Bali, one sound, audio. Bali said, Vindhyavali, did you hear that audio? Yes, Swami, even I heard. Bali, again one more audio. Then they saw there was a small boy on the ground. Bali sat. Swami, what do you want? I have come to ask for 3 measures of land. No problem. Vindhyavali, go get those papers of Pallikaranai and Varagadam. And get every other property document wherever lake has been converted into land. So, The Lord said, Bali, I don't want that land. Then which land do you want? Frisco? Plano? What do you want? Tuscany. Mekini. You want Mekini? You want Mekini, Plano, Frisco? He said, no. Then what do you want? I want to measure the land with my foot. Bali said, don't joke. Your foot is actually invisible. How will you measure? I will measure. So Bali said, it's your choice. And he said, Vindhya, his wife, go get the Kamandalam, because if you pour waters, it is an agreement, a memorandum of understanding. While Bali called Shukracharya, who was observing this from a distance, came running. He held Bali's hand, took him to the side and said, Bali, I will say a few things. Do not look at that boy and react. Don't turn. Just keep listening. You know who's this boy? Yeah, he's very cute. He may look cute, but he's the same boy who came as Nisimha at 8:15 p.m. yesterday and tore open your great-grandfather. He's Nisimha, the Lord. Don't turn. What did he ask? Guruji, he asked for 3 measures of land. What did you say? I said, I will give. No, you just say that you go and tell him that you can't give. If he asks, what answer will I give now? You say, I will get back to you shortly. Sir, if I say I will get back to you shortly, what will be my name? Bali asked, customer care. I don't know, here maybe your customer care is good. In India, if I call, Tamilukku ondrai ezhuttavum. For English, press 2. Credit cards ku 1, debit card ku 2, bondi avadharku 3. So then so he said, go tell. Bali said, when the Lord has come seeking alms, I will not deny. So the Lord was waiting for this moment when he will go against his Guru. So the Guru immediately said, when you have gone against me, you will lose your wealth very soon. Shapam. The Lord said, deal done. Come Bali. Water was to be poured. But water didn't come from Kamandalam. Like the water tap, just a year back, how California taps used to be. No water. This year they had good rains. Water did not come. So immediately Bali said, Vindhya, please call the plumber. The Lord said, no need for plumber. I have a toolkit. He took the darbha grass and he inserted into the dwaram. Why? Because Shukracharya, through his yogic shakti, had transferred some of his dharma bhuta jnanam into a bumblebee that was blocking the path to the waters. So he pricked. So while he pricked the darbha grass, Kuranarayana Jiyar, the composer of Sudarshana Shatakam, says that while this was done, Daityodayendrayanchan vihitam apanayan vamano arthitvam vikrante padapadme nijagadanu samam pamsali krityalilye. There is another place where he also says, Sudarshana had got into the darbha grass, because if Dandadaratvam has to come from chakra. So when he pricked, the eye was gone. Alvar says, Shukiran kannai aruttane accho chakkara kayyane accho. So from that day onwards, Keshavakata Kshaika Netram, he applied in Shankar Netralaya, didn't get his eye. Now the waters came. He carried the toolkit in his hand. See, he had good skills. After my engineering in Pilani, I came home. The day I came, my Purva Janma karma, there was no power in the house. My grandmother said, what happened? The fuse had gone. Needa engineering padichirkiye. Poyada podu. I said, potty. They have not taught me how to fix fuse. I know only Bernoulli's equation and Schrodinger equation. Whatever is not relatable and applicable to the daily life only, they will teach in engineering. உருப்படியா இருக்கிறதெல்லாம் கத்து தர மாட்டா பாட்டி. இதுக்கா 4 வருஷம் படிச்சேன். So now, as the waters were poured, Bali Chakravarti took the Kamandalam and gave it to Vindhya. Vindhya, hold. He saw some shadow on him. So where is this shadow coming? This little little boy. Anoraniyana Mahato Mahiyana Prameyana Adisidalu Yashode Jagado Uddharana Anoraniyan Mahato Mahiyan. Smaller than the smallest, bigger than the biggest. The one who came as Vamana now grows as Trivikrama without his dhoti tearing. He grew. As he grew, he kept on growing. Kept on growing. If I say like this, there is no rasam in this. He kept on growing, kept on growing. If it is Harikatha, they will do Perumal appodu valandunde ponaram valara 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 Perumal valanduduva dimikita they will sing. But I can neither sing that well, nor can I keep telling valandunde pona. He went on growing, went on growing. That is when my hero comes to my rescue. Who is my hero? Vedanta Deshika. He says, he is my talaivar. He says, when the Lord grew, the constellation of stars which were initially found on the sky, the constellation, when the Lord grew, he started growing. At the commencement, they were like a canopy. As he grew, they became his necklace. As he grew further, they became his girdle, Mekhala. As he grew further, they became his anklet. So this uses the algebraic concept of a variable and a constant. So the constellation of stars are a constant. So what the Lord does is variable. That is why even in a vernier calipers, you keep one and then measure it, right? So he grows. This is how a poet describes. See, a poet will not say he kept on growing. How will they show that beauty to you? They said that the stars were a canopy, necklace, then they became the girdle and anklet. Got it? But there is a problem here. He says, Bhakta Priyatvai tatha parivardhamane muktavitana vitatistava purvamasit haravali paramatho rashana kalapaha taraganastadanu mauktika nupura shrihi. Good. But there is a problem. What fits as a necklace will not fit as a girdle. Correct? Will your necklace fit as Uddiyanam? You need 5-6 necklaces together. Then you can make that Uddiyanam. Then only it will become Mekhala, Kanchi. But why does Vedanta Deshika state that the necklace became the girdle? Because Samudrika Lakshana Shastram says, both for the man and the woman, what fits here should fit here, which means your hip should be so thin. That is why I always put my Uttariyam like this. You cannot see. In Tamil Nadu, they'll keep talking, Engal Valluvar. Valluvar Kuririkirar Teriyuma. Again and again they will bring Valluvar. I will tell what Valluvar says. Thiruvalluvar has just not given couplets on dharma. He has given it on kama. Arattupal, Purutpal, Kamattupal. Kama means love, pleasure. There he describes a woman. Technically, more than the man, the woman is described because whoever is prettier, they will describe. Correct? Women, do they agree? Now, he describes an incident. Thiruvalluvar describes an incident. I am talking 2200 years before. When most of the civilizations didn't exist, most of the nations didn't exist, 2200 years before, somewhere in the corner of Chennai, one person writes one couplet. Look at the grandeur of this couplet. He says, one day at about 12 noon, he was walking by the streets of Mailapur. He completed St. Mary's Road, took left and came by the R.K. Mutt Road and was walking. While he was walking outside one house, they were making arrangements of how a dead body should be carried. He was worried. He asked the inmates, who is dead, sir? The people around said, the little girl who's 16 years of age, she died. My goodness, sir, she was so pretty, such a well-disciplined girl. How did this happen, sir? This morning, I saw her.
But how did she die all of a sudden? That person who was there says, this little girl, 16 years of age, along with her friend, went to a close by park. You know that Nageshwaram? There, that girl, she wanted to adorn her beautiful hairdresses with flower. So she plucked a flower called Anichappu. That flower is called Anichappu. I don't know its binomial nomenclature. It is called Anichappu. While plucking the flower, by mistake, she plucked the flower with its long stalk. So there is a calyx and a corolla, right? She plucked with the long stalk. So she plucked the flower with its stalk and placed it in her hairdresses. Unable to bear the weight of the stalk, her hip broke and she died. So here it's not melancholy. He's not giving you a very bad situation. What he says is the hip of the man and woman should be so thin that even if you keep the stalk of a flower unable to bear that weight, the hip should break itself. Even if you keep 2-3 stones on my head. So the Lord's hip was so thin. That is Vamana Avataram. Now, there is a problem here. He measured the upper worlds with 1 foot. We always say measured, right? What does measure mean? 1 centimeter, 2 centimeter. He didn't measure that way. Measurement means acceptance. I'll tell you how. Have you heard of Purna Kumbham? See, whenever a great Acharya comes to a place, you always welcome him with the Vedic chants and offer Purna Kumbham. You say, you recite it. What should the Acharya do? As the chants are being offered, you have to touch that kalasha. That's all. You should not give Purna Kumbha Maryada for a person who doesn't know how to accept that Maryada. If you do not know how to accept, you will take that Kumbham. So, Totta means you just have to touch. If you touch, it means you have accepted. So if the Lord has taken his foot upwards, it means he has measured all the worlds above. It doesn't mean he has to go touch the Jupiter, Mars, Venus. No. And as his foot was placed on earth, how was it? I can say that he measured the earth. But Parashara Bhatta gives a beautiful description here. He says, when the Lord, he touched the earth, how was the earth? See, when we cook, either it is the man or the woman, whoever cooks, there is one box called as a Anjarai Petti. I don't know, Telugu lo em cheptara adiki peru. ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ನಾನು ಹೇಳೋದು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ ಕನ್ನಡದವರು ಇದಾರಾ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂಜರೈ ಪೆಟ್ಟಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಸಾಲೆಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಏನ್ ಡಬ್ಬಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನ್ ಹೆಸರು ನಾಮಕರಣ ಮಾಡಿ so that in Telugu you got the Kannada name Telugu so you're getting that and are you able to understand there'll be little mustard little jeera there'll be pepper that's called anjarai petti. So when we cook, our fingers will be moist. So if we have to season them, we take some mustard and then we put them into the hot oil. When we do this, some of the mustard will be attached to our fingers. Then what we will do is we'll dust it on our apron and the mustard will fall onto the floor. And we will walk over that mustard. But we won't realize that we are walking over that mustard. Then at about 12 o'clock, when there is an online yoga session, the teacher says, extend your foot. Then the teacher can see that mustard. Hey, you got a mustard, beauty spot there. It's not a beauty spot, it's a mustard you take. When that mustard was attached to the foot, it neither caused pain nor did we realize there was a mustard. The world was like a mustard at the Lord's foot, it says. He says, Shri Rangaraja Charano Pranumo Yayokalu. He says. Now, the Lord measured the upper worlds and Bhumi. What did he do? What did he do next? Yeah, you tell. Come on. What did he do? Third step he has to measure. What did he do? What did he do? He placed it on Bali's head. Do all your friends agree? So do all of you agree with him? Maybe. Either you say yes or no, only 2 options. Do you agree? He measured, third step, he measured Bali. Okay, he measured Bali. Okay. While he measured the earth, where was Bali? No, sir, he was in Mars. Where was he? On Earth. So when you have measured Earth, he has measured the Earth inclusive of Bali, right? Correct? So how can Bali be technically again remeasured? See, you have sold your house with a modular kitchen, dishwasher, and everything for $1 million. Agreement is done. That person has bought. 2 weeks later, you come again and say, please give me money for the dishwasher. What will the person say? I have given you money inclusive of the dishwasher. So in the second step, Bali was measured. Correct. First is a problem. Understood. Then how did Bali give? Even if Bali offered his head, the Lord should have told, I've already measured you. He should have told, right? Why didn't he tell? Because there is a sukshmam here. Let's come to the human mentality. I'm sure now all of us here are good people. We'll give certificate, we have to give, or no, nobody else will give. We have to give our own certificate. You know, this 50, 60 years before, if you ask the elderly people, in those days, the sons-in-law used to give, not everybody, but used to give throat tantrums. It was not easy to have a son-in-law at home. He will ask, see, he will ask something impossible. So imagine a household where they are living as a joint family, you know. There are about 4 sons, all of them are married, they have children. The last sister is married, the new son-in-law is there home, he is also living with them. And he throws tantrums, people are always worried, they always hover around how his mood will be. You know, there are certain people, suddenly they'll become moody. That is why they should come for a lecture. I will never let their mood go bad. Now, in such scenarios, people used to go and give invitations. You know, invitation is so easy today. You send an invitation and then you say RSVP. If you're interested, come. If you're interested, not interested, don't come. Vanda sandosham varlena romba sandosham. So our invitation process is so easy. But imagine 50, 60 years before, no WhatsApp, no email, nothing, no telephone. You have to go to that house carrying all the gifts with the betel leaves and welcome them. It was a tough task. They'll go to the house, poor parents, they'll say, please come home. Kutumba Samet, Srimad Vedamarga Pratishthapanachar. Did I read that invitation for you that day? Finally, they'll say, Kutumba Sametara Elundaruli Revendum. Please come along with your entire family. Entire family itself is one big city. Because that family, that's why in those days they never used to invite friends. Because if you invite 4 families, that will itself be 150 people. So they will invite. At that time, they'll say, all of you, please come. And they'll go. After they go, will become the discussion in that house. That son-in-law will say, I am not coming. Immediately, he did not invite me. No, he said, all of you come. He did not invite me. That ahankaram is there, right? He doesn't want to be a part of that we. He says, you should all have been invited. Especially they should have told me. Swami, you also come? Then I would have thought about it. He invited all of you. He has included me along with you. What audacity that man has. When the Lord measured the earth, inclusive of Bali, which is Bali's body, Bali thought he has measured the world. He has measured the world, which means he has not measured me, that I. So that ahankaram was the one that was crushed in the 3rd step. It was not Bali's body, Bali's ahankaram, this I. That is Vamana Avataram. Now, we are going to go into the grandest of avatars. See, no avataram can match Krishna Avataram. Because there is not one Acharya in Bharata Desham who has not celebrated Krishna. Universally praised Avatar. Everybody loved. So much so that there was a great Avadhuta sannyasi. His name was Sadashiva Brahmendra. Great Advaita scholar. He used to say, the Lord is formless, attributeless, Sarvam Brahmamayam. Sarvam Brahmamayam. Used to sing. Now one journalist went and interviewed Sadashiva Brahmendra. Let's take for now Arnab.
Arnab went and interviewed, and he allowed Sadashiva Brahmendra to speak. So he asked, Bharata wants to know, Sadashiv ji, who has captured your mind? Who is so captivating? Sadashiva said, Sarvam Brahmamayam. No, I would like to know specifically who has captured your mind. Sarvam Brahmamayam. I would like to question again, Sadashiv ji, who has captured your mind. Sadashiv ji said, stop the recording button. I will tell. Arnab paused. See, I have been telling Sarvam Brahmamayam. But when I close my eyes, I see the countenance of a boy whose face is as beautiful and blemishless like the full moon. He has got the nose as that of a champaka flower. His eyes are looking like the petals of a newly blossomed lotus that extend till the ears. His hair tresses are so beautiful, and they have been adorned with the newly born pearls as a string. He has a beautiful peacock feather, and with that he smiles. Can you tell me more about that, Sadashivji? Madashikhi pincha alankrita chikure mahaniya kapola vijita mukure manasa sancharare brahmani manasa sancharare. My mind goes behind that boy. Madhusudana Saraswati, who gave a great grantham called Advaita Siddhi, he says after writing that grantham, Krishnat param tattvamaham na jane. I conclude that there is nothing greater than Krishna and Krishna Bhakti. One Kavi says, you know, how should my last stages be? There should be a fine breeze that touches my epithelial cells. There should be this little boy with the resplendence of a sapphire that's just broken out of a hill. He should be holding my finger and walking by the waters of Yamuna. Nila malarnda iravinil tendral bulavidum nadiyil Nila nirattu Balagan oruvan kuழல் ஊதி நின்றான் காலமெல்லாம் அவன் காதலை எண்ணி உருகுமோ என் உள்ளம் காற்றினிலே வரும் கீதம் காற்றினிலே வரும் கீதம். One other poet says, I should see that boy just now as a little boy. He should be, provoking Radha, and Radha should give him those angered long glances, and then he should be pleading to Radha. புல்லாங்குழலிசை இனிமையினாலே உள்ளமே ஜில்லென துள்ளாதா ராகத்திலே அனுராகமேவினால் ஜகமே ஊஞ்சலிலாடாதா விருந்தாவனமும் நந்தகுமாரனும் யாவருக்கும் பொது செல்வமன்றோ ஏனோ ராதா இந்த பொறாமை யார்தான் அழகால் மயங்காதவரோ. So another poet, see, I have to give you, Annamacharya says, కాళింగుని తలల పైన గప్పిన పుష్యరాగము ఏలేటి శ్రీ వెంకటాద్రి ఇంద్రనీలము పాలజల నిధిలోన పాయని దివ్యరత్నము బాలుని బలు తీరిగే పద్మనాభుడు ముద్దుగారే యశోద ముంగిట ముత్యము వీడు దిద్దరాని దేవకీ సుతుడు मोरे तो गिरिधर गोपाल दूसरो न कोई ഗുരുവായൂരേകാദശി തൊഴുവാൻ പോകുന്നു വഴികാട്ടുക വഴികാട്ടുക നാരായണ രൂപം ഹരിനാരായണ രൂപം. Which language is not celebrated this lot? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Chetodarpana Marjanam Bhavamaha Davagni Bhavagni Davahanam. He talks about how this entire samsaram is full of fire and it is Krishna Nama Sankirtanam that can relieve. Vedanta Deshika Adharahita Charuvamshanala Makutalambi Mayura Pinchamala Harinila Shila Vibhangalila Pratibhasantu Mamantimaf Prayane. My last stage, this boy should hold me and take me to Vaikuntham. Which Acharya has not celebrated Krishna Avataram? So we are showing the grand entry to Krishna Avataram. In Krishna Avataram, Devaki, she was the sister of Kamsa. Kamsa was a tyrant king, but he was very affectionate to his sister Devaki. Yema chinna vayasula nyabam irukka? Nee muttai kette, naan kootun ponenemo. So he would hold. And she was married to Anaka Dundubhi, who was Vasudeva. Both of them were seated on a chariot and it was a Janavasa Prayanam. You know, prior to the marriage, it's called Bharat. So the boy is made to sit in and that sellotape rose ambassador car. And then the girl will be made to sit. So then that car will slowly go. This was very prevalent in the 1950s to 90s. You know, there was a social reason for having Janavasam because the boy is taken in the car slowly. Somebody in the audience may say that was a unofficial background check for the boy. So this was one of the ways you could do the background check. See, in my marriage, there was no Janavasam. People asked, you are going against the Shastras. Why there was no Janavasam? I said, I am from Bangalore. Daily we have Janavasa Prayanam only in Bangalore. Except the Badam plate and Pista plate, everything is Janavasam. So while Devaki and Vasudeva were being ferried in that chariot and Kamsa said, I will ride for my sister. And he started riding. It is believed there was an Ashariri Vak. It said, Hey Moodha, fool! Kamsa turned. He knew what his name was. Astyastvam ashtamo garbho hantam yam bahase buddha. That lady whom you are carrying in this particular chariot, she will be the 8th child, will be the cause of your death. Till then, Yema. He took the sword from his cupboard and was about to behead her. That is when Vasudeva stopped and said, see, Kamsa, one day both of us have to die. Atma is nityam, shariram is anityam. We have to shed our body. He patiently observed. Had I been in Vasudeva's place, I would have run. But Vasudeva patiently gave Atma Jnanam. That is when the Lord in Vaikuntha said, he should be my father. Because later Krishna will also give the same Jnanam in Ratham. So like son, like father. So that is when Vasudeva said, see, we may have children or may not have. Whenever the child is born, I will come and give it to you. Please spare my wife's life. The first child was born and it was given to Kamsa. Kamsa said, please take the child back. You are a very good person, Vasudeva. Even if you take loan, you will repay and not run out of the country. So you take this child and head back. Then Narada came. See, he said, Kamsa, imagine with the happiness that they have, they keep producing children. Imagine the pituitary gland of the 8th child functions better than the 7th. Then you may mistake the 7th child to be the 8th child. Kamsa got confused. He put both of them in the jail. And he proved to the universe that he was a fool. Why? Because he put both of them in the same jail. Had he put them in 301, 302, my Saptaham would have ended today. He put them in the same jail and they were that complete producers. They were true Bharatiyas, one after the other. Varisya. See, in those days, I told you, right? Whenever they have many children, the last child will be invariably Mangalam. So they kept producing. The 6 children were killed. The 7th child, here, on the other hand, see, Vasudeva's other wife called Rohini was in the guardianship in Gokulam. Now we know in Bhagavatam that the child's potency, that power was transferred from this garbham to the other. But how could she have gotten pregnant without the husband? That is why there are commentaries which say, like how, I don't know, in India there's a system called parole. So he would go every now and then and take care of his wife. So the potency was transferred. And then this was reported, the seventh garbham of Devaki was reported as a miscarriage. Abortion. Oh, unga state la adun solla mudiyadilla. So the seventh child, and then the eighth child, she had to get pregnant. Now imagine Devaki's state. Why do we listen to Bhagavatam? Or Dushyanth? No. Because imagine Devaki's state. 6 children were killed in front of her eyes. 7th child was reported a miscarriage. 8th child she is bearing, with the only hope that this child will survive. And the irony is the child doesn't stay with her. It goes away later. Imagine Devaki's state. She has given birth to Paramatma, but she had no enjoyment in life. That is Bhagavatam. If this is the state of Paramatma's mother, then who are we? We keep cribbing about the problems in our life. Look at Devaki. So 8th child she is bearing. Here is where my hero comes into picture. Vedanta Deshika gives 60 verses in Yadava Bhyudayam describing how she felt during Krishna's pregnancy. He tells that Devaki, it was a small jail. No window. No place for even the light to creep in. Dark cell. But her gynec had said, you have to keep walking, you have to exercise. So she used to walk. As she would walk, she used to have the feeling that she's flying. She would think something is bad about my body, and she would quickly close her eyes and recline on the floor. And she would feel that the floor is slippery. Vedanta Deshika asks why. When the Nityasuris knew that Paramatma is housed in her garbham, Adisesha became her couch and Garuda became the Vahanam. That is why she had the feeling of flying and slippery while sleeping. Sesheshayanam Garudena yantim Padme Nishannam Adhiratna Peetham. Then, see, generally I'm sure the mothers will know, dark complexioned women also turn fair, pretty fair during gestation because their skin is stretched. And the iron content comes down. That is why gynacs will always give iron and folic acid tablets. The iron content may come down. So even a dark complexioned woman may look fair during gestation, but it was the other way around for Devaki, it seems. The fair complexioned Devaki looked dark. Why was she dark? Vedanta Deshika says that she was housing Paramatma within her. Who is Paramatma? Narayana. How is Narayana? Dark. Completely dark. Why is he dark? He says that Mahalakshmi used to apply Itex. What is Itex here? Anjanam in her eyes. So then she used to look at the Lord. He used to be very pretty. So her already large eyes used to enlarge further. When it enlarged, the black hue attached to her eyes would fall as energy packets in that air, and using Schrodinger's equation, the black color used to fall on his body and he used to turn dark. Lakshmi, the collyrium from her eyes used to fall on his body. He was dark. Inside her garbham is Paramatma, who's dark. In Paramatma on his chest is Mahalakshmi, who's golden hued, Hiranyavarnam Harinim. And Mahalakshmi's foot has red lac, which is called Mehendi, Mardani, which is called Padalakshara Sankam. So Mahalakshmi's foot is red, body gold. She is housed in the chest of the Lord, who is dark, who is housed in the garbham of Devaki, who is fair complexioned. So fair plus black plus gold plus red became a kaleidoscope, and she turned silver color, it seems. Shatahlada bandhuraya swakantya sanjati jambudana bimbakalpa trayanta yugmena rasayanena kalena bheje kaladhauta lakshmi. Well, these were the experiences she had. It was a wonderful Avani Masam. And in that month, he is going to be born. Now, the lights will be switched off. You all have to take your phones. Keep your torchlight on. And while the Avataram Prakriya is read, you can remain in your place and do Harati with your own phone. Now you may wonder, sir, we don't have fire in our hand. Remember, light comes from fire, right? So light is important, Sanatana Dharma. The source is not important. It is called Archis. So use your phone, that is your Mangala Harati, and you are going to perform Harati wherever you are going to be there. So, while it was a beautiful day, are you all holding the phones? It was a beautiful night, it was pouring. See, Rama's Jananam happened during the day when it was summer. And this was rainy season, monsoon, pouring, cats and dogs. Even the little rays that have to creep in through the crevices in the clouds would go away because it was pouring. There was no sign of the light coming from the moon. It was dark everywhere. Everyone had slept. You can switch off these focus lights also. I don't need them. None of the lights are required. So, it was a beautiful night. In that particular night, all of them were sleeping. Except Devaki, Vasudeva, Kamsa and Krishna. It was a unique night when all the celestials had gathered to see the boy who is later going to give the quintessence of the Upanishads called Bhagavad Gita. So that Jagati Gitayanbham Tamaha, says Deshika, the one who is going to expel the darkness of nescience with the quintessential knowledge called Bhagavad Gita that he is going to pour. On that unique night, when it was pouring outside, when Kamsa was restless on his bed, on his couch, when Devaki felt that little pain, that labor, there was no one to assist her in that jail. All the soldiers were sleeping. Vasudeva was helpless. He did not even know how to help her. At that point in time, when it was that beautiful night, there was Shankhanadam all around, and that is when this little boy was born. Tamadbhutam balakam ambujekshanam chaturbhujam shankagadaryudharyudam Srivatsalakshmam Galashobikaustubham Pitambaram Sandrapayodi Saubhagam Maharha Vaidurya Kirita Kundala Trisha Parishvakta Sahastra Kuntalam Uddhama Kanchi Gadakankanadibhir Virochamanam Vasudeva Maikshata Tamadbhutam Balakam Ambujekshanam Chaturbhujam Shankagadaryudharyudam Srivatsalakshmam Galashobikaustubham Pitambaram Sandrapayodi Saubhagam Maharha Vaidurya Kirita Kundala Trisha Parishvakta Sahastra Kuntalam Uddhama Kanchi Gadakankanadibhir Virochamanam Vasudeva Maikshata. It was a beautiful night where Vasudeva saw in front of his eyes a 4-year-old, 4-handed boy with Shankam, Chakram, Gada and Padmam. An eyesight, a sight which nobody else can see. Vasudeva was witness to the Adbhuta Balakam and witness to the child from whose Nabhi came a Padmam seated on which was Brahma. Little child, beautiful head, beautiful body. In that little form there were 2 hands. In those small hands there was a Chakram and there was a Shankam. He was holding the Gada and he was holding the Padmam. From his Nabhi was a little lotus. Seated on that lotus was a little 4-headed Brahma. On his chest was Mahalakshmi. A sight which has been time and described again and again by our Acharyas. So Krishna Jananam, which is Krishna Avatara Prakriya, happened in this beautiful form. What more to Krishna Avataram from tomorrow? Kavitarkika Simhaya Kalyana Gunashaline Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha Swasti Prajabhya Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Gobrahmanebhya Shubhavastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kayena Vacha Manasendriyaiva Buddhyatmanaba Prakriti Swabhavat Karomi Yatyat Sakalam Parasmai Sriman Narayana Yeti Samarpayami. Namaskar.